Druid combination a lot, but in this case it's a slight alteration. The Druid will be the damage dealer and the Shaman will do the healing. I would say overall I anticipate this composition to be weaker, but perhaps still potent against the Mage Warlock setup. We haven't seen this matchup, and Cloud9 face elimination, so this composition may be a surprise if they're not ready for it. That knocks them out of the tournament.
Oh, Oz in a little bit of trouble. Bash into Mortal Coil, into Infernal Stun. This is a setup we've seen from Cloud9 consistently, but Oz manages to just shrug it off. He's going to be okay with the Earthen Shield Totem. That should give him enough damage reduction to completely stabilize through that initial opening. And really, I mean, Malice at the Palace, that was a great start for them. A lot of offensive cooldowns committed by Cloud9, and they weren't really able to get too much done.
Yeah, the fourth member of Malice was not able to compete, so Oz has stepped in as the healer. He is known for his damage dealing capabilities, but he's going to be put to the test as a healer here against the current reigning champions of the spring finals, Cloud9. How are they going to handle the pressure? Spenno on Destruction Warlock, Packrats on Balanced Druid. Packrats having already burned through his incarnation, so his damage is going to be very low for the time being. Looks like we see Cloud9 making a swap to Packrats, trying to apply some pressure towards him. The Gladiator's Maledict push desperately to get the renewal from Packrats, but a little bit troubling, not able to find it, so he will hold on to a defensive cooldown moving forward. So far, no significant mistakes in terms of defense on either side.
Yeah, Cubsy's spent the better part of this game in cap form. I really feel like Malice, they need to focus on punishing him, and they do end up doing that. Bash over on the Cubsy, a little bit of spread pressure. Wealthy Man also under fire. The Temporal Shield and the Iron Bark should be more than enough, but Cloud9 is playing surprisingly aggressive in this matchup. Malice, like you said, they haven't really committed too much of their defense right now. They've been able to just shrug off these initial attacks, but I really feel like they need to start punishing Cubsy. Look at him, he's in cap form for just far too long, and that added damage really adds up in a matchup like this.
Yeah, and you're not going to see the utility of the Shaman really come into play. It's too risky to commit your mana to purges, especially as we anticipate this to be a long game. So Cubsy is just walking all over Malice at the Palace right now, adding a lot of extra damage, and you can see that on the health bars of the members of Malice just dipping lower and lower so frequently. Spenno looking for some crowd control to try and save himself, as he is just getting smashed by Wealthy Man. Oz having a difficult time dealing with this. There's no interrupt, so he should be able to cast Healing Waves and recover in this position. It is now Chanimal and Wealthy Man on the back foot, but Wealthy Man immediately responds. Temporal Shield absorbing all that damage and healing him back to full. It was a high value Temporal Shield. Cubsy furthers that defense with Iron Bark, so Wealthy Man will be quite sturdy in this position as they continue the assault on the Palace. How much longer can they push forward? Cubsy once again in cat form. Chanimal trying to set up by banishing the Fell Hunter to remove that interrupt from play so that Wealthy Man and Chanimal can freely cast. Cubsy gets Cyclone, but there's no pressure. It's actually still just pressure in favor of Cloud9, which is a bit unexpected. You would normally see the Balanced Druid and the Warlock having this type of spread pressure. Spenno getting smashed. Nether Ward at very low health, but managed to hit a key ability there on the Gladiator's Maledict. Still, Oz trades the Spirit Link Totem to recover from that assault, and it was not the Infernals or Dark Soul Chanimal. Chanimal has an opening here to get a kill. Cloud9's damage output is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. These guys are a cut above the rest right now. Cubsy's still in cap form, moving forward, trying to build up some damage, but basically all three members of Malice at the Palace just getting mowed down. Oz really struggling so far in this matchup to keep his team afloat, but has managed to do so. Spenno now with the Dark Soul, looking to get aggressive with the Chaos Bolt. Manages to find one on Wealthy Man. Temporal Shield should deflect all of that damage and top him off quite quickly, and yes, it does. Cubsy responds to the Iron Bark as well. Now Oz taking a little bit of damage. Cubsy's still in cap form, trying to get aggressive. What is Oz going to do?
Looks like he's going to be just running around the pillar, line of sighting Chanimal until Dark Souls have subsided, but the pressure is still just so much further in favor of Cloud9. The Restoration Druid's heal over time effects so potent in this matchup. The extra Feral Affinity damage. The Restoration Shaman brings basically just the grounding totem as more of an annoyance, but they don't even seem to care. They're switching to Oz once again, looking to burst him down for the kill here. How's he going to respond? Astral Shift, line of sight, and he will survive through the Icy Veins assault, but now Wealthy Man switching his attention to Packrats, bursting him down. Oz needs to heal all three members of the team so consistently. Cloud9 just turreting to whoever is in their line of sight, immediately applying pressure to any target that they find. Malice at the Palace finally setting up a swap onto Cubsy and trying to create some momentum there, but he was able to slip around the corner out of line of sight, and now backed up by Chanimal's crowd control. Unlikely to have to trade any cooldowns. Cubsy jumping into the fight. Oz is interrupted. Spenno falls behind. Nether Ward is exchanged by Spenno to try and prevent the kill on him, but even still very low on health. Big heal connects just in the nick of time, and he holds on to his Unending Resolve. An important defensive cooldown for the Warlock to survive. Spenno needs to hold on to that at all costs, so likely he should be repositioning to the pillar. Out in midfield right now, he is ripe for the picking.
I'm just imagining Cubsy with his sunglasses right now, just chilling in cat form, dealing all kinds of damage in this matchup. Cloud9 really has been all over Malice at the Palace. Finally some good counter pressure here onto Wealthy Man. He's around 30% health. Needs to be a little bit careful against the Destruction Warlock. It can be really scary. And a Moonkin. These guys can take someone down quite quickly if they're able to get off any sort of spell cast. We're at 4% dampening, which is kind of surprising. It feels like the initial parts of the game just kind of flew by.
All right, Cubsy's crowd control, double stun by Oz. Good initiation, but just no damage. Packrat's not able to really dent the opposing team, waiting for that incarnation in 50 seconds. That could be the opportunity for Malice at the Palace to make a play, depending on what defensive cooldowns they can force, but they really haven't forced anything from Cloud9. Cloud9 is effectively walking all over them, building a bigger and bigger lead in every single regard with both defensive cooldowns, mana, and momentum. It's going to take a miracle right now for Malice at the Palace to come back. Dampening isn't going anywhere but up. Oz's healing will become increasingly difficult. There's a spell lock for Chanimal available and a counter spell for Wealthy Man available. So Oz at any point, if he casts Healing Wave, could be disrupted and his entire team could get destroyed. So it's adding the pressure onto him, playing the healer role for, I would say, it's the first time in a tournament setting at least, against the Spring Finals champions. Chanimal being interrupted by pack rats. They're desperate. Cubsy just walking all over them, adding some extra damage onto all three members once again. Oz puts down the Healing Tide Totem. That should support the team, as it is an area of effect healing spell, but now they're focusing single target damage. It's not going to be too great for that. Oz recognizing that, trades Astral Shift. Unending Resolve from Spenno as well. They're trying to counterattack. They're desperate. They have to make something happen here and now before they fall too far behind.
Yeah, this is their opportunity with Incarnation and Darksoul, but Spenno gets interrupted. He's under fire. Oz doesn't have much mana left to work with at this point in the game. Backrats get caught into a Mortal Coil. Chanimal looking for a Chaos Bolt to take him down with the Flurry combo. Oz is able to deflect with a nice Riptide, but still all three members just eating the blizzard of Wealthy Man. The spread pressure really starting to add up, and as we get towards 20-30% dampening, all that AoE the Frost Mage AoE the Frost Mage has really starts adding up, and it's so difficult as a Restoration Shaman to stay ahead.
Big hit here onto Spenno. Could be the end of the game as Wealthy Man secures the counter spell and Spenno falls. Cloud9, dominant performance in game number one.
Yeah, very well played by Cloud.
Really organized in their assaults. It does appear that Cloud9 was just more organized, setting up doing more damage and setting it up more consistently. So Malice at the Palace, if they can get comfortable, perhaps they can pull it off. They've gone for Dalaran Sewers. This is a good map to stop a Druid from drinking, but I don't even think Cubsy needed to drink, so maybe it would have been better to go for an open field and try and just go for an all-out assault in the start of the match, but either way, we're on Dalaran Sewers. Cubsy is crowd controlled early on. Chanimal actually spell locking Oz. So if the interrupts are focus fired onto Oz, his team can lose almost immediately. Packrats needs to realize this, try and take interrupts with Cyclone. They've set up decent damage on Cubsy, which is exactly the target I wanted to see them go after. Immediately getting his entire defensive lineup. However, it is traded pretty fairly for the Infernals and Incarnation of Packrats, so Cubsy should be playing at the pillar for the time being. But while he is, Malice at the Palace can switch targets. They're going after Chanimal. Chanimal already saw it coming, activated the Nether Ward, but two big Chaos. Well, Chanimal with a bit of a disrespectful positioning, trying to assert dominance on Spenno in the opening stages of this fight. Chanimal gets cycloned up by Packrats to desperately save Spenno, who is forced to use his Unending Resolve very early on.
Yeah, does trade out the Unending Resolve, polymorph over onto Oz, but the Earthen Shield Totem from Oz was enough to keep Spenno alive in that situation, so they didn't have to trade out any major cooldowns. Oz gets interrupted once again. Spenno using that Demonic Gateway to retreat to the safety of the pillar. And right now, Cloud9, they're playing a little less aggressive than we saw on the Grand Arena. On the Grand Arena, they were all over Malice at the Palace. Maybe Wealthy Man is going to be pushing in right now. Looks like he wants to get aggressive with the Blizzard. This is kind of the strategy we saw. Wealthy Man just kind of controls, snares everyone up with the Blizzard, with the Frozen Orb. It allows Cubsy a lot of free reign and just getting out consistent damage with that cat form. Chanimal taking a little bit of burst. I really like what Malice at the Palace is doing. Like you said, really focusing on Cubsy a lot more, making it a little bit more uncomfortable for him to push in cat form and play so aggressive.
Cloud9 pushing potentially for a kill onto Spenno if they have any crowd control for Oz. Doesn't look like it, although Spell Lock for Chanimal available, so Oz gonna have to deal with that stress. Cubsy's feared. Potentially we see Oz use some purges. We didn't see him play aggressively at all last game, but he's caught in a full fear. Had Termor Totem available, so maybe a bit of a mistake here. Now in a polymorph, has to trinket into another polymorph. Wealthy Man with perfect crowd control here. Spenno in a lot of trouble. Multiple Gladiators, Maledicts. Oz is still crowd controlled. Spenno could easily fall. Oz gets out of the crowd control. What's his next global cooldown going to be? Isn't in too much of a panic. A couple healing waves and saves the day, but now caught in another full fear. Crowd control endless from Cloud9, but Spenno holds on.
Yeah, Spenno does manage to survive with not too much of a cost. Full polymorph now into Oz once again. Spenno could be in some trouble. Cubsy not in cat form just yet, but the crowd control from Cloud9 looks good. Spenno on the run. Cubsy in hot pursuit. Does he have the damage to take him down? Cubsy in this position could just solo him. Oz the Ascendance connects a big heal to Spenno, keeping him alive, but that was a really close call.
I mean, he's still low on health at this point, and there's a counterspell available. Cubsy stunning 2 members of the team there, using his Shadow Meld, his Night Elf Racial, to get 2 members stunned, and it also enhances the damage of his Rake Bleed by quite a lot. So Spenno and Oz are going to be taking some heat. They decide to gate across the battlefield and try and escape. Curious if Chanimal lays a Demonic Gateway on top of it. He wants to. So this is, again, a dominant move from Chanimal. They know that they have the momentum. They've got the complete control of the fight. When you see a Warlock place the Gateway on top of the opposing Warlock's Gateway, that does mean that Malice at the Palace are playing from behind. Perhaps there's a win condition if Oz has a lot of mana and dampening and can use Purge. I could see that being an option. So his mana is looking solid so far, but we're still quite a ways away from that win condition.
Cubsy's been playing really well in this game so far. I mean, we give a lot of credit to Chanimal on this team and Wealthy Man. Cubsy, I mean, he gets a bit of credit, but I think he deserves far more. This guy is playing insane on the Restoration Druid. He did at the Spring Finals. I would say he was the MVP Restoration Druid. In this game, you can see why. He just has a really good mix of offense and defense. He can help his team get aggressive in situations like this. Spenno in trouble. Double Chaos comes in onto Spenno and Oz. Mortal Coil as well. How is Oz going to deal with the situation? He has the Spearling Totem. Is he going to trade it out? Doesn't look like it just yet. Northern Wall Totem, unfortunately, goes into a polymorph. It actually breaks. That is very unfortunate for Cloud9, but they are continuing this pressure.
Ooh, Unending Resolve on that Chaos Bolt from Chanimal. Spenno is low on health, now looking to reverse some pressure. Big Chaos Bolt sent out towards Chanimal. He has to use his Unending Resolve. Finally, some cooldowns forced from Cloud9. Malice at the Palace showing that they've at least got a little bit of fight left in them, not getting totally dominated by Cloud9. And if they can get a big swing like that later in the match, deeper into dampening and Oz can support, I definitely see them being able to find a kill. Chanimal likely to focus on defense now for some time, wait for his Unending Resolve, and maybe perhaps if they can keep Chanimal on the back foot, they can counter-aggress. They're going after Pack Rats. Blink counterspell, well done by Wealthy Man. Pack Rats in a bit of trouble. Chaos Bolts are flying in. He's soaking all the hits, though, in that bear form and repositioned at the ramp to avoid that situation where he could have gone down. So good positioning on Pack Rat's part to survive while Oz was interrupted. That is exactly what they need to do. Dampening has now started, but I think Oz should be looking to get a drink. He wants as much mana as possible, as Purge is so expensive. And I really only think that they can win with Purge. The heal over time effects are so potent against the balanced Druid's damage.
I don't know if I like this map coming in from Malice at the Palace. Cloud9, I mean, they weren't afraid to just play on the pillar, keep all 3 members of Malice just grouped up. It's doing okay. Finally, a little bit of pressure on the Wealthy Man and Chanimal. Cubsy just immediately heals through that. If we look at mana, right now Oz is way behind, which isn't something you really see in a matchup like this. Normally the Restoration Shaman will be ahead on mana. Big swap over on the Cubsy right now, trying to punish him for getting this aggressive, but Spenno under fire, double interrupt coming in. Pack-Rats gets counterspelled, Spenno gets spell-locked into double Shadow Fury. Is there any more crowd control for Oz? Oz, to his credit, has been doing a really good job making sure he's sitting in the Blizzard and the Frozen Orbs to deny Polymorph from Wealthy Man by taking damage, and it's been smart. He's been able to avoid a lot of crowd control. The unfortunate side effect of that is he ends up taking a lot of this cleave damage, and this is where he has to play catch-up on himself. 10% dampening right now. Oz is going to start really struggling as the dampening gets higher.
Yeah, Wealthy Man moves in, potentially for the kill here, activating that Frozen Orb and Gladiator's Maledict. Chanimal looking to support, but gets intercepted by Spenno. Good interception here. Solar Beam denying a lot of cast while Oz was stunned at low health. Good teamwork from Malice at the Palace, but Cubsy doesn't even seem to care. Almost killing Oz by himself. now feared away. Finally some pressure onto Chanimal and Weltyman, but it's still significantly in favor of Cloud9. Oz just can't recover. Chanimal holding on to that spell lock, waiting to nail Oz with it and then deny all the healing and end this game. Packrat soaks the spell lock. Perfect timing for Oz now to get some healing waves. 7 seconds away from Weltyman's ability to interrupt those healing waves. Cubsy is still just crushing damage. Infernals have landed for Spenno. This is an opportunity maybe to get a kill. Chanimals is over-aggressive. He's forced to run away. Cyclone at low health. Beautifully done here from Packrats. If Oz can toss in a couple of purges at the end of this Iron Park, perhaps they can take Chanimal down. But now Chanimal looks to reverse. His Infernals have entered the battle, and this is a risky gamble for both sides to make a push.
Yep, definitely. Wealthy Man looking to get aggressive as well. Good counter-aggression by Chanimal with his cooldowns. Oz, Packrat, Spenno, they are all rotting down. Cubsy moving in as well. Spenno gets interrupted, still under fire. He was the kill target for Cloud9 in the last game. Are they going to be able to take him down once again? What cooldowns does Oz really have available? He still has his Spirit Link Totem, his major defensive cooldown if he wants to throw that out. But he's caught into a bash. He has his Trinket. Is he going to be Spirit Link Totem? Oz playing a little bit greedy right now. Chanimal, Cubsy still all over him. Now on line of sight of Wealthy Man is going to activate his Ascendance as well as his Astral Shift to avoid some damage. But Malice at the Palace, they are so far behind at this point.
Beautifully done there. Packrats was able to soak up the interrupts, so now Oz can free cast healing waves with Ascendance and get his team back to full health.
Nice.
That's exactly what Oz needed to recover in that position. Now they're at 20% dampening, but they don't have the mana to purge. They almost don't even have the mana to continue healing, and they certainly don't have any pressure. Defensive cooldowns available for all three members of Cloud9 as they continue a dominant push. The only thing I really see happening is Cloud9 making a massive blunder at this point, which I guess is possible if they're overconfident, considering they've been in control of this fight start to finish, even from game 1 to game 2. Spenno falling behind, but it looks like he wants to make a push to kill Chanimal. A bold decision against the Spring Final champions, but bold decisions have to be made here when you're facing a team of this caliber. Now a full Polymorph secured onto Oz. Good teamwork between Chanimal and Wealthy Man. Packrats gets denied on his peels, and Spenno is far too overextended, getting destroyed by Cloud9 in game number 2, putting Malice at the Palace on match point. So dared to forget their popcorn on that bench.
Yeah, that's a prime viewing seat for this arena. That's gonna be my seat for this one.
Snuts' seat.
Yeah, and like you said, Malice at the Palace, they have dared to go head-to-head with Cloud9 with the Mage lock Druid mirror. Let's see how this goes. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on Cloud9 in this specific matchup.
What does it say if they lose at the same time? I want to see this. I mean,
well,
look at the
does it
momentum
look like
already.
they're losing?
Look at the momentum already. I mean, Cubsy's in cat form and his whole team's at full health. Oz is trying to be in cat form at the same time, but his team is not at full health. Packrat's below half. Momentum really heavily in favor of Cloud9. Spenno has an opportunity here to make something happen. He's got 2 members stunned, looking for a Chaos Bolt. Maybe onto Wealthy Man. Could be a big hit. One onto Wealthy Man. Chunk down. Cubsy recovers, though, I do believe. Oz is actually being focus fired by Cloud9. I do think the Restoration Druids are a prime target if they continue to play as ferociously as they are. Cubsy jumping in for a kill on Packrats. He's very low on health.
Oh!
Getting away without ice blocking for now, but
Packrats has been greedy, greedy Packrats, but it ends up paying off. But plays like that sometimes don't. He could have just easily got deleted. There's 2 Dark Soul Chaos Bolts Chanimal casted earlier, and he kind of just shrugged that off at 10%. I mean, that is a scary moment, but things have actually stabilized here in the matchup for both teams. Both teams have sort of recovered at this point. If we look at mana, Oz, Cubsy, still in a prime position for this fight to go on. No major defensive cooldowns have been forced out on either side.
all right, Cubsy jumping in again, getting a re-stealth. The Restoration Druids can get into stealth. They gain access to a stun, so Oz did as well. And it's very important because there's effectively not that many stuns on the team, so the Druids can bring the stuns in, but it's quite difficult. You have to stop healing your team, drop out of combat, go in stealth, slowly cross the map and stun the target. So you have to pick your moments and go for it. Cubsy moving in for another attack onto Oz. He's locked down completely and may fall through Barkskin. The Chaos Bolt connects. There's those Vortex pulls him back in line of sight of Chanimal, but Spenno deflects. Now Spenno looks to counter-engage with some pretty beefy Chaos Bolts. Who's he going after? He's trying to fake cast some interrupts, but the interrupts aren't even available. I'm unsure as to why. Kept faking over and over there. Chanimal now the target. Actually pretty low on health. Cubsy struggling a bit. Packrat's looking to close this out. Chanimal disrespecting, not using the unending resolve. Unending resolve now at 10% and may fall through it. Chanimal's barely holding on. The spring champions being mirrored by the total newcomers, and now they're finally getting some counter engagement. Full polymorph on Oz and maybe just going to close it out. Cubsy's adding in a lot of extra damage. Speno's defense may not be enough. They break the chain though. Oz gets out of crowd control. Speno gates across the midfield. They're trying to chase after and finish, but they're just unable to. Very close call for both teams.
Yeah, this is surprisingly close. We see Chanimal almost going down, having to use his unending resolve. Same thing happens to Speno. Packrat under fire. Oz and Speno do reposition. They're the first ones that sort of have to run away in the match. Now, Wealthy Man, Chanimal, and Cubsy are in prime position midfield. And this is not a spot you want to be for Speno. It's going to be very easy for Wealthy Man and Chanimal to just tee off damage. Cubsy gets a re-stealth, moving in. Speno still in a lot of trouble. Oz, luckily, out of line of sight, avoiding crowd control, is able to top him off. If we look at mana once again, still relatively even on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say maybe the slightest lead for Cloud9. Packrats gets hit hard. Wealthy Man tearing in. Cubsy's there to back him up. That's an ice block. Definitely a lead now for Cloud9. Malice at the Palace, they're on match point. Their Destro balanced Druid. The Restoration Shaman was not working whatsoever, so they've decided to mirror the spring champions on the composition that we credit them to be the best in the world at. That Mage, Warlock, Druid going toe-to-toe with Cloud9 in the lower bracket. The first round, both teams face elimination, although I would say the pressure is completely in favor of Cloud9, already being 2 points up in the series. Packrat's polymorphed away. Oz crowd control. They've isolated Speno. He's the focus fire target. Big hit. He gets nether warded on the Chaos Bolt. Barely stays alive. I'm not sure if he's going to make it out. He's trying to reverse the pressure, though, at the same time, but Oz gets polymorphed. It's a bit of a race to the finish, but Chanimal is getting way more Chaos Bolts. Maybe Speno as well, looking for some fears, trying to break on the crowd control, but can't. Gets denied and totally shut down. One more hit, and Speno's going to fall. Comet Storm, maybe. Speno somehow still alive at around 10% health. Chanimal goes for double Mortal Coil. Cubsy starts the crowd control chain with a stun. Chaos Bolt with Feral Affinity. Speno gateways back to Oz. Reconnecting for a couple of quick heals, but at the expense of maybe a lot of mana. Actually, Oz timed to innervate there, so he didn't have to spend any mana, but he is at a slight deficit to that of Cubsy. Once again, a close call, but Malice at the Palace stay alive.
Yeah, Cubsy now into a bash. Chanimal gets interrupted. I feel like so much of that pressure on Speno was off the back of what I have to say isn't great positioning. He was just in midfield, stuck there, snared up, getting rooted, getting Nova, getting teed off on. Whereas Chanimal, he was at the pillar. He was able to avoid Chaos Bolts, get out of line of sight, and it was a lot less scary for him. So I really feel like all three members of the Mage Lock Druid have to be in close proximity to be backing each other up with crowd control and damage. When you're split up like that and someone's in midfield, they're just such a vulnerable target. So definitely moving forward now to the Palace. They need to clean that up.
Oz getting a stealth stun onto Chanimal. Defensive cooldowns becoming available again for each of the respective Warlocks, so they are going to be a lot more durable. Chanimal looking for Chaos Bolt, Speno as well. They're just making equal trades next to the pillar. Both Warlocks just reluctant to retreat away, standing on top of each other. Chanimal looking for Fear crowd control onto Oz, but he got Iron Bark up prior to it, so perhaps this activated defense will deflect Cloud9, and it does appear to be the case, at least long enough for Oz to get out of crowd control and jump into the fight himself. Speno actually still surprisingly behind. They interrupt Shadow Fury. This now opens up Wealthy Man and Chanimal to free cast damage later on. Fortunately, Wealthy Man's Icy Veins have fallen. Fortunate for Malice, that is. Cubsy actually getting caught in a polymorph. Wealthy Man could be in trouble as a result. Nice play by Packrats. Actually decides to go for Frozen Orb and break his own polymorph. Maybe a mistake there at the end, but there's still pressure. Wealthy Man low on health. Gladiator's Safeguard Shield has been procced. Multiple Gladiator's Maledicts. They have to commit the Iron Bark. Cubsy is suddenly out of mana. I'm not sure really where he spent that, but now he is actually behind on mana. Cooldown wise, Wealthy Man used Cold Snap at some point, or an Ice Block, so now it's pretty much an even game. Yeah,
Wealthy Man used his Ice Block, overlapped with Cubsy's Iron Bark. I think he might have been fine there, so a bit of a panic moment for Cloud9. And Malice at the Palace really putting it to Cloud9 right now. This game is really even at this point. In fact, I would say Malice at the Palace is ahead. Oz has more mana. Packrats has, a second or third Ice Block coming up in just 2 minutes. Oz now caught into a stun, has to shrink it out. Good pressure now on the Packrats. Needs to be very careful. Speno looking for a Chaos Bolt. There's no damage on the side of Malice at the Palace. They need to start finding some pressure. Cloud9 starting to develop a lead in terms of damage.
Yeah, Cubsy spending way more time in cat form. Oz needs to recover the team and start getting into cat form himself. It's all about the Druid's damage output and stun management. Triple Shadow Fury from Chanimal. Big hit here. Nether Ward was too late. It's only going to get the Chaos Bolt, or not get the Chaos Bolt, only the Flurry, but I guess that's enough. Speno stays alive. Mortal Coil for the healing effect onto Cubsy, so Speno can recover. Oz is trying to jump in, add some damage, and get a kill onto Wealthy Man. Ursul's Vortex pinning him in, but there's a Gladiator's Maledict onto Speno. 2 members are low. Dampening is very high. Momentum is in favor of Cloud9. You don't want to lose the momentum in dampening. It becomes so difficult to actually recover. Mana is equalized out at this point, but Oz gets crowd controlled on his Innervate, so he is not going to be able to get free healing spells. Well-timed bash into Mortal Coil. Looks like they're swapping to Oz, looking for the kill. Cubsy gets a re-stealth. Perfect timing, but Oz holds on, although his entire team is at sub 50% health. Speno gets bursted. He's trying to gateway to safety at the room, but Oz needs to reconnect. They left Packrats behind. He's likely to have to ice block. Speno's trying to counterattack, but Packrats is still in midfield. Their entire team is just dead, whereas Cubsy is totally recovered and chilling.
Yep, Cubsy's doing a great job so far. Cloud9 walking all over Malice at this point. 20% dampening. Oz, how are you going to recover? He's sitting down for a drink right now. If he can fully recover his mana, it's going to be big. Cubsy as well, sitting down for a drink. Packrats able to shut that down. Oz, what's his mana at? This could be huge for Palace.
Did not get any. Wealthy Man shut him down instantly with the Pet Nova.
That's unfortunate.
Sniped him from the room. It could have been a complete reset, an opportunity to stay alive in the tournament. Wealthy Man saw it and denied it. Speno now in a lot of trouble, very low on health. Pinned in the starting room while Oz tries to drink, but Packrats, he's out in midfield. He's just getting owned right now. He's got one more ice block, which, I mean, if you trade for a full mana bar, I guess is okay, but Cubsy is doing the same. So both Druids are resetting their mana. They'll be able to continue to heal, but the defensive cooldowns are limited, so someone could just get bursted through healing at this point in the game. Cubsy leads the charge, stunning up Oz. Can Oz heal through this at 24% dampening and recover? They need to do it now. They need to get Packrats healthy so he can push and get some defensive cooldowns, but his health is just simply not going up. Finally, recovered by Oz. Now Oz jumps into cat form, tries to add some damage. Speno stunned up in a Shadow Fury by Chanimal. Cubsy at the pillar with a lot more mana, so Cloud9 have taken control of the game once again.
Yeah, Chanimal in a good position. He has the Unending Resolve. Speno does not. Speno might have to reposition, dropping a gateway, running into the room. He needs to run and hide. So we're talking about Oz now caught in midfield and a bash. Big damage coming in from Cloud9. What is Oz going to do? He's got no trinket. Barkskin Ironbark finally gets out of the line of sight. And he does manage to survive, but now Malice is just completely pinned down in this little room. Cloud9 with a dominant position, but Cubsy actually got hibernated. Nicely done by Oz.
Yeah, unfortunately they can't really capitalize on it. That could have maybe been a game-winning play, but the damage output from Malice at the Palace. I'd love to have a damage meter for this game in particular. Oz getting stunned up. Packrats with no ice blocks could just easily be the end of the match and the end of the tournament for Malice at the Palace. Oz barely recovers. He's so far behind on mana, despite drinking at the same moment as Cubsy. Cloud9 have completely stabilized. Speno getting owned in midfield again. He should consider getting back to the starting room because he's just going to get owned. He's going for a push, actually, even at such low health. Can Speno get the kill before he falls here? Big Chaos Bolt incoming. Chanimal denies it. Wealthy Man blinks in to close the game out through the Nether Ward. Speno likely to fall here. There's no more defensive cooldowns. Cubsy's all over him. Speno gets crushed. Cloud9 with a clean 3-0.
Yeah, well played Cloud9, but
if you're tuning in, we've got the move versus 5 Blinks, and they face elimination in the lower bracket, and you couldn't ask for a better matchup. 5 Blinks come out guns blazing on their main composition, the Rogue, Mage, Priest, and the move, of course, I don't even need to say it's their main composition. It's almost just the only composition that they need. Shadow Priest, Rogue, Restoration, Shaman. Early on, we see WizK posted up in midfield, setting up. Both Rogues in stealth, looking to try and find each other if they can deny some opening pressure from the Assassination Rogue. Vault's winning the initial exchange against WizK, most certainly.
Backup.
I mean, of course, he has some backup. It's effectively 2-on-1. So Abster just decided that this mid-game play is not going to be a good trade for them, so they're going to push up. The move look to start the fight, but Nesper counter-engages.
Yep, Nesper's going to be opening up on all 3 members. What are they going to do? One of the strengths of the Arcane Mage is some of the Azerite traits they have available to them, including Quick Thinking, which basically every time Volts uses an instant cast spell, he gets a little bit of a heal. Now, this actually works quite well with the Discipline Priest, as their throughput isn't that great, but when you have one member of your team who's healing himself up a lot during the match, makes Volts just not a great target to really go after. I'd be surprised if the move decide that that's their main target of choice in this matchup. The Arcane Mage is just so slippery. The amount of self-healing he has makes him really difficult to take down. So this battle could come down to a mana war, quite frankly.
Smoke bomb attempt here by Nesper onto Peekaboo. Absurge looks like he's more than ready. He had Tremor Totem preemptively down when he ran into the smoke bomb to avoid a Psychic Scream from the Disciplined Priest. It looks like the move actually switching to the Disciplined Priest, trying to gun him down. Let's see how well Zin deals with the pressure here against the move in game number 1. Very low on health. Peekaboo going for the kill, interrupting Shadow Mend if Upsurge can follow up with a Wind Shear. Doesn't look like they want to stay on Zin for now, waiting for that powered barrier, blinding him at low health, and he's playing relentless.
No.
This has to be game. I actually don't think there's any way he survives if he gets sapped. They may not even need the sap. They go for the silence. They go for the cheap shot. The move get the stun out, and immediately owned. That was a classic. I mean, that was very similar.
Combination of the Restoration Druid with the Holy Paladin worked out well against basically everything. I mean, it seemed like they had a fair shot, and that's kind of how the move has always played the game. Like, maybe they aren't compositionally advantaged, but as long as they have a fair shot, they can find windows of opportunity to make it work. So I think for Absturge, it's going to be really important to diversify off the Restoration Shaman, play the Holy Paladin, play the Restoration Druid, as long as the game is in a similar spot. If he can have all those 3 healers under his belt, then I think the combination of Peekaboo and WizK can really excel.
Volt's getting crowd control on Absturge early on, pressure on WizK as a result. Continuing the chain once again, WizK wants to go after the Discipline Priest. They just want to kill the healer, but he's quite overextended while Absturge sits through a long crowd control chain. They're going all in on WizK. Many defensive cooldowns exchanged early on, perhaps all of them, or simply death. WizK has to use Dispersion on top of everything else. The move, they were playing aggressive. They wanted to go all in for a kill on the Discipline Priest. It cost them their whole lineup, but maybe it doesn't matter. Perhaps Peekaboo can just kill Zin within seconds of this match starting. Multiple Gladiators Maledicts incoming. Zin dispels them, but with Vampiric Touch, horrifies himself. Defensive blind on Nesper to deny any sort of safety here to save Zin, his priest. Any more interrupts and Zin falls. Volts moves back to support Frost Nova. Psychic Scream to bait Dispel. Absturge gets swapped to and bursted down by Nesper. Perhaps very low. That was actually the Void Shift of WizK. Zin is still just getting tunneled. The move are going all in on the Discipline Priest, and it is such a struggle for him to stay alive facing the move.
Bit of an extra punch in the opener because I feel like they've realized they really can't live that long.
I think he just switched it at the last second there. So.
Oh, all right. Well, I was wrong.
Zin, maybe on Tolvaron with a big open field, can stay away from Peekaboo. Perhaps they focus Peekaboo and try and shut him down because he's really the initiator to get the kill on their Discipline Priest. If they can crowd control him or target him down sooner, then perhaps they can save their Discipline Priest. Although it looks like WizK is going to be the starting target. Volts is moving across midfield. Peekaboo probably sees Volts and is either going to look to disrupt him, which he does with Kick, or push forward towards Zin and build momentum. So Peekaboo interrupts Polymorph, then immediately switches over to Zin and goes for a kill there. WizK in Void form is going to be doing a lot of damage. Zin using the human racial to get out of the stun right away, but it was not really... I guess it is the commitment of the Vendetta. It's a fair trade on Zin's part. Smoke Bomb dropped by Nesper, looking to create some momentum here onto WizK. They stun Absturge on the Trinket. Well done. WizK in a bit of trouble as Gladiators Maledicts are incoming and absorbing a lot of healing onto him. Absturge is powering through it though. No significant cooldown exchange yet through the start of this fight, but likely now with a full Polymorph. Dispersion on WizK will allow him to recover. Nesper the target of Peekaboo as he is trying to stall and protect WizK. Perhaps we see that defensive blind again so that they can find the kill onto Zin, but Zin has not really overcommitted his defensive cooldowns. He's in a much better position. He's just staying away from the fight, focused on his own survival and letting his team do all the work. But now Nesper gets swapped to and bursted down, caught in a stun. He pre-Cloak of Shadows the incoming Smoke Bomb, decides to Trinket in evasion anyway, respecting that line of sight blocker on his priest. Full Polymorph from Zin, but Mass Dispel by WizK. Barrier traded out as well, so a bit of an overcommitment here from 5 Blinks. You can tell that Zin, he might be either panicking or tilting at this point on match point. Big damage on Nesper.
Oh, no.
Tons of pressure, perhaps facing elimination within seconds from now.
Yeah, Zin throws out Pain Suppression. That's Pain Suppression. Archangel, Powered Barrier, Evasion, Cloak of Shadows, all within 10 seconds of each other. 5 Blinks is running out of time. There's not too many defensive cooldowns left. One nice crowd control chain from the team of the move will eventually take down Nesper here if they still decide to go with him. Zin's just positioned so far away right now. It's really difficult. Silence into Kidney Shot. The Leap of Faith will keep Nesper alive for just a short period of time, but that blind on the relentless Trinket choice of Zin, that's it. The move advanced 3-0.
Yeah, they even used...
Surprising to me that the boys would play this composition.
I mean, definitely no surprise whatsoever. The boys going to be locking in their best composition, but M2KC with a little bit of a read here. You have Jamili on that Elemental Shaman we were talking about, Rebcub on the Restoration Druid. We'll see if they finally come up with some sort of an answer for this composition.
Yeah, the answer that we've seen from North America was Cloud9's Mage Warlock Druid, which M2KC tried to pull out, but this might just be very effective as well. Thugonomics low on health, incredibly low on health, only trading out Blur, I believe, throughout this initial assault. It's not the Vendetta, he doesn't want to overcommit. Manages to avoid death by just dancing around his opponents with those fell rushes. Blade Dance trying to avoid some more damage as well. Lightning Lasso peculiarly was cast there on Gorecki. Usually you'd want to be using that to maybe prevent an interrupt, so I'm not really a big fan of that. Big Smoke Bomb play on Thugonomics, but he Gladiators Medallions out of the Smoke Bomb. Gorecki as well, now stabilizing. Thugonomics is taking a lot more damage than I would have anticipated, but so far he's surviving.
Yeah, Jamili, of course, known for his Mage gameplay, but also playing the Elemental Shaman, the Balanced Druid, lots of different Mage, lots of different caster classes at his disposal, and it's nice to see him multi-classing a little bit here, bringing the Elemental Shaman. I think it's a really strong class right now, really powerful role, and I think it pairs nicely with their team. Had good pressure so far in the match on Thugonomics, and because Thugonomics has been under so much pressure in this matchup, it's been really difficult for him to land those mana rifts, and as a result, Rubcub, he's actually way ahead on mana. I'm
wondering if Gorecki played the Shaman instead of the Druid, almost anticipating this Elemental Shaman rogue because he's so well known for Druid. Thugonomics is taking quite a bit of damage in this position. The next kidney shot actually could be lethal if they get crowd control on Gorecki at the same moment in time. Gorecki crosses midfield, so he's exposed to crowd control potentially. Rubcub sees that, pushes forward, goes for Cyclone, gets denied, kills the grounding totem, goes for Cyclone again, gets it. Thugonomics could be in trouble as a result of Rubcub's crowd control. He's getting bursted down, tons of damage, very low on health. Spirit Link Totem will save the day. There's a surprising amount of pressure from M2KC. So far, so good for them. Rubcub looks to sit down for a drink, regenerate mana. Smexen snipes him and denies it. M2KC make a swap to Gorecki, looking to catch him off guard. Double stun combo. Rubcub dodging the mana rift. Gorecki still low on health, barely holding on here at the pillar with that astral shift. Commits the Earthen Wall Totem as well and is still struggling.
Yeah, definitely struggling. Finally in Ghost Wolf, trying to get away. Rubcub throws in one more Maledict Trinket. Gorecki in Ghost Wolf, going to be running away, popping the Ascendance to try to get some healing on himself. Roasty still just all over him. And right now, M2KC, they've had a surprising amount of pressure so far in this matchup. Gorecki's really struggled, finally topping all three members off. If we look at mana, finally those mana rifts are starting to develop themselves. Rubcub at around 50%. Gorecki does have a lead, and it's going to be up to Rubcub in this matchup. Is he ever going to be able to sneak away for a drink? Have M2KC figured out an answer for this Demon Hunter Death Knight? If not, this is going to be a clean sweep for the boys.
Yeah, it'll be 0-12 to this composition in a row for M2KC if that ends up being the case. Gorecki comfortably sitting through a full blind and a hex. If he gets away with sitting through both of these, that would be quite impressive, but at the same time, the longer it goes, Thugonomics dips low. Another stun as well. Roasty's reconnecting. Not enough damage. They're actually going after Rubcub a bit, trying to target him down. He doesn't actually have too much mana and appears to be struggling to this swap. Managing to finally recover now. Thugonomics stunned away. Gorecki crowd controlled by Jamili. Big damage incoming. Earthen Wall Totem is placed by Gorecki. This should stabilize Thugonomics, although at low health. Desperately in need of some healing waves. Connecting some now and stabilizing. Roasty's a bit on the back foot. Rubcub getting gripped to Smexen. Thugonomics wants to swap. They get the Fell Eruption. They deny the Mana Rift with Lightning Lasso. That was well done from Jamili. They buy Rubcub some extra mana as a result of that instant reaction time from Jamili.
Yeah, good reactions from Jamili. It's going to be really important in this matchup. Either Jamili or Roasties is shutting down Thugonomics. Thugonomics in a little bit of trouble, trying to dance around. There's a Chaos Nova onto Roasties, still trying to get out of line of sight. Roasties with a Shadow Step. Thugonomics not out of it yet. Gorecki doesn't have the Spirit Link Totem. Vanish, Garrote gets cast out. Thugonomics still in a lot of trouble. Anti-Magic Zone just trying to soak up some damage, but these Demon Hunters are just so durable. Gorecki does manage to keep Thugonomics alive. Good teamwork there by the boys, and they do manage to hold on, but at what cost? Rubcub is in stealth for a little while. Is he going to be able to recover all of his mana? If he is, it's going to be big trouble for the boys.
They are trying to crowd control Gorecki as he crosses midfield. If Gorecki gets Cyclone or Hex, it could be curtains for Thugonomics. Tipping lower and lower. Rubcub gets denied on the Cyclone, but now Smexen says maybe they don't even need it. This is a lot of damage. Gorecki really struggling, and the boys going down. M2KC, they break the slump against a composition. They were 0.
One thing is for sure, every time we see M2KC, it's always roasties on the assassination rogue. They've really liked that specialization. I think for the better part of a couple of years, it seems to be what they primarily run. That's been the main focus of their team, is compositions with that assassination rogue, and it's a really aggressive playstyle in a lot of the compositions they run. They like to play aggressive. They like to keep their opponents on the back foot, and that's been sort of Jamili special since we've really seen him compete. He's always being the player to really push the pace early on. RPPal under fire. Good initial assault here from Chun-Li and Smexen. What is RPPal going to do? Does manage to escape for now. Chun-Li taking a little bit of damage. Full blind of Gorecki. He trinkets out. But it is going to be Jamili that's under fire.
Yeah, Jamili is taking quite a bit of damage early on from the boys as they mix it up with a two-pronged assault towards RPPal and Jamili. Finally connecting some regrowths, perhaps stabilizing, looking to counter-aggress. Chun-Li is forced to trade, but it's not really a force. He just wants to stay on target and finish this game very quickly against the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, keeping up their momentum. Chun-Li switching maybe to Roasties. No, charging back onto Jamili as RPPal is stunned up, not able to heal. Chun-Li cycloned at low health on the diffuse magic, denying some heals, then switching the cyclone to Smexen. Lightning Lasso dealing a ton of damage on Chun-Li. So it does appear to be Chun-Li is the priority focus for M2KC, Jamili the primary focus for the boys. That means those two members of the team are going to have to be very careful to keep themselves alive based on positioning. Gorecki is just already sitting down for a drink. I believe he was actually significantly behind RPPal. The boys looking for a swap to RPPal actually. I like the ping-ponging, but they are burning a lot of defensive cooldowns to play this aggressively, creating potentially an opportunity for Roasties to make a play with Vendetta soon.
Yeah, big heals on Chun-Li off the back of that huge drink Gorecki was able to get. Chun-Li can stabilize. It's a great position for the boys. RPPal hasn't had to use too much mana so far in this matchup. Still it's Chun-Li and Smexen that are all over him. Jamili trying to find some counter pressure onto Chun-Li right now, and that kidney shot into Lightning Lasso is a devastating combo. This is what we're going to see right now. We need to see Smexen get the interrupt on the Lightning Lasso, or it could be big trouble for Chun-Li. Lightning Lasso gets out of that with the everyman for himself racial. Fortifying Bruise going to be traded out as well, and big pressure for the boys. All three members are rotting down. RPPal is really struggling. He's trying to just tank through the damage in bear form. He does manage to escape, but in the meantime, Roasties and Jamili have been getting cleaved from the Windwalker and the Death Knight. Yeah, pressure onto 3 targets for the boys, whereas there's only pressure on Chun-Li. Roasties is just likely to fall here in the Asphyxiate, barely surviving. Shadow stepping and stunning Chun-Li to hold on by a thread. The boys' damage across the board is just so much more significant. Although you can't count M2KC out, their burst potential is definitely there. At any moment, they could eradicate Chun-Li. There's a moment of opportunity, though. Chun-Li has Touch of Death, and there's really limited defense for M2KC. So if Chun-Li can stay on target with that ability, he's more than likely going to be able to close this match. So let's see what Chun-Li looks to do. Who's he going to go after? They're going to grip RPPal in for a double stun. That makes the most sense to me at this point. If they can get Roasties and RPPal stunned and swap to Roasties, instead going for a stun of a million Roasties and setting up, but no Touch of Death. Maybe they're waiting for Iron Bark. Chun-Li's playing it out as patiently as possible. Gorecki gets swapped too. Big attempt here from Roasties to get a kill, but Ring of Peace pins Roasties away slightly from Gorecki. He is able to survive the stun, be into bear form and survive. RPPal is crowd controlled. Still no Touch of Death attempt from Chun-Li. Waiting for the perfect opportunity, I suppose. Gripping RPPal in, getting Bark Skin with the Storm Earth, Wind, and Fire, but that's not really the cooldown they wanted to get. They would have preferred an Iron Bark. I can't help but feel that Chun-Li is waiting for a perfect moment that is just not happening, and the longer he waits, the more likely Astral Shift becomes available. They stun up Roasties. They're not really going after him. Smexen is just soloing RPPal around the corner. Chun-Li's getting 1v1 by Jamili. This fight is splitting up. It's quite chaotic. Definitely very chaotic. Chun-Li taking some damage right now. Gorecki still under fire. Roasties all over him. If he can get a kidney shot outside of bear form, Chun-Li trying to babysit Gorecki the best he can right now. Keep him alive, force Roasties off. Roasties need to be very careful that he's not getting caught up into those double leg sweeps. Chun-Li's very good at baiting people in, getting the double stuns. Does manage to find it. Good death grip coming in from Smexen onto RPPal. Now making a big swap. Iron Bark looking to deny a lot of the damage on Chun-Li. He's forced to use the diffuse magic as well, but that wasn't on a Gladiator's Maledict, so doesn't have that as an option if Roasties, Jamili, and RPPal decide to pull the trigger on those trinkets.
Jamili's still low. 2 defensives available. Which one's going to be used? Both at the same time. Big mistake from M2KC. Although they've got a tiny bit of a mana lead, perhaps that could be the factor. Grecky knows it. He needs to get a drink, but he's not able to. He gets blinded. Unfortunately, breaks. That's very bad for Roasties. That could have been a big moment for his team to get a lot of pressure, at least get the Gladiator's Medallion from Gorecki, and now it's basically just thrown away, so any advantage that they had is effectively lost. Nice Thunderstorm on the Fist of Fury, denying some damage from Chun-Li on the part of Jamili. Gorecki again sneaking away. I believe Rubcub is doing the same. Both Druids need to try and regenerate mana. Perhaps they just go for an equal exchange. Rubcub says no way, moves forward, stops Gorecki from drinking. I do think that it's more favorable for Rubcub to drink. The consistent pressure from the boys should be higher and more difficult to heal through when on low mana, as opposed to Gorecki being low mana. So I feel there's more pressure for Rubcub to regenerate mana as soon as possible than Gorecki, but Rubcub keeps chasing Gorecki around maybe and trying to stop him rather than looking for a drink himself. Double leg sweep. Chun-Li uses Touch of Karma aggressively to swap to Roasties. He is responding appropriately. Feint, no overreaction from the side of M2KC, and now Chun-Li on the run.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of trouble. He's got no Touch of Karma. Anti-Magic Zone gets dropped out, but he just rolls out of it as quickly as possible. It was overlap with the Smoke Bomb, so not the biggest of deals. Chun-Li with really not too many defensives left after this Fortifying Brew. Still has a defuse. Rosie's taking a little bit of damage. Jamili as well. Rubcub's mana is not great. The boys do have a mana lead at this point and a pressure lead. Rubcub caught into an Asphyxiates down. Ironbark, Barkskin, overlap. Gladiator Safeguard. Panic mode here for M2KC. What is Rubcub going to do? Touch of Death is rolling. Rubcub has to start getting some heals on himself. Does manage to semi-stabilize, but he's still not out of it yet.
Big push from Chun-Li there, finally committing the Touch of Death. I really want to know why he waited so long to do it. I feel like he could have gotten at least 2 more Touch of Deaths in the amount of time that he's waited for just that one attempt, and could have actually just used it to run Rubcub out of mana faster. So perhaps a mismanagement there, waiting for the perfect moment and just never finding it. Gorecki is crowd controlled by Jamili, but Jamili's under pressure. He's not able to really utilize the effectiveness of it too much for his favor. Fortunately, Rubcub has Innervate that makes his healing free, so he can get through this next couple of seconds A-okay. But as it subsides, the pressure is going to mount. Gorecki's trying to sit down for a drink. Rubcub and Chun-Li can easily stop it. They grip Rubcub in. Smexon swaps. Chun-Li isn't. He's more worried about just trying to stay alive. Gorecki should be able to maintain him with Ironbark, though. Now Chun-Li looking to switch to Jamili. It's very difficult to call as to who is ultimately going to take game number 2. They're so evenly matched, and mana is totally equal. Defensive cooldowns equaling out as well. Roasties can make a big power play with Vendetta. Perhaps that could be the factor to kill Chun-Li. Chun-Li in midfield. Jamili looking to try and cast out some Chain Lightnings, develop some Maelstrom. Defensive Hex on Smexon. Gorecki moves forward, dispels it instantly. Rubcub's trying to drink while 2 members of the team are low. He managed to at least get a couple of ticks with a slight mana lead, but is crowd controlled and can't use the mana that he just got, so that could be devastating. Gorecki blinded up, decides to use Gladiator's Medallion, gets bashed on the Gladiator's Medallion. I don't think Rubcub should even go for the clone. He's just going to get interrupted. It's going to cost too much mana. They get the Touch of Karma from Chun-Li, so Chun-Li has very limited defense to stay alive. Gets beautifully cycloned on the anti-magic zone at low health. Well done from Rubcub. Rubcub then chasing down Gorecki maybe to stop a drink. Roasty's looking for a re-stealth opener and then chase down Chun-Li. Not able to get the re-stealth. Chun-Li is terrified right now. If Gorecki does not get Ironbark before being crowd controlled, he is likely to die. So Gorecki's not going to risk that. Commits the Ironbark before any crowd control is even tossed his way. Rubcub sees maybe a chance to sit down for a drink, but Smexon is all over him with those ghoulish undead creatures chasing him, poking him, making sure that he never drops combat. But that tiny drink is keeping Rubcub in the game. Chun-Li makes a push, but he has limited defense. Touch of Death doesn't even scratch Jamili here. Astral Shift is more than enough. Perhaps M2KC can get a kill finally. Gorecki totally tapped on mana.
Yeah, Chun-Li's portal is in the open as well. He might have to use it. Is he going to relay his portal? It's not in an ideal location right now, so can't completely rely on that. Diffuse magic is up. Roasties there. Chun-Li denies any sort of kidney shot with the Fist of Fury. Rolls away. Good and evasive maneuvers by Chun-Li on the Windwalker Monk. Gorecki has no mana left to work with whatsoever. Smexon trying to develop some pressure by sitting on top of Roasties. I like the denial. Lightning Lasso on Chun-Li. What is Roasties going to do? He's able to reconnect just a little bit, but Roasties is in some trouble. Rubcub, he needs to find some heals. He pre-feints the leg sweep, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And ultimately, the boys will claim game number 2. Really well done.
Wow, I actually feel like...
Just to see how the Death Knight Demon Knight performs with Gorecki on Druid as opposed to Shaman that he was playing in game number 1. It should provide more sturdy heals throughout the early game, and I don't think that they will fall behind nearly as frequently, so Thugonomics will be able to go for more mana rifts, and if he can go for more mana rifts at a faster pace, then he will run Rubcub out of mana. I love these stun timings on the side of M2KC. So when Rubcub gets stunned by Thugonomics, he wants to combine that with an ability called Mana Rift, which, if the healer stands still, will remove a percentage of their mana away. But Thugonomics will be on global cooldown after stunning, which means he can't immediately use Mana Rift. So there's a split second where they can break up that Mana Rift stun chain, and they've been using Lightning Lasso and Kidney Shot to do it. So Roasty stopped one Mana Rift. Here he can't stop this one because he is stunned as well. So finally, one Mana Rift connecting. Roasty's though looking to counter-engage with the Smoke Bomb. We see the anti-magic zone exchanged on that. Thugonomics doesn't even seem to care, just recklessly charging out of it, going back immediately onto Rubcub. I will say that the boys are playing this a lot more aggressively, and they can get away with it with the Druid as opposed to the Shaman, and perhaps Rubcub will be put more to the test now because of Gorecki's change-up on that healer.
Yeah, we'll have to see how exactly that plays. Rubcub still under fire. Thugonomics trying to land those consistent mana rifts like we kind of talked about, but he's been getting denied every step of the way. Roasty's then Jamili doing a great job with the counter stuns. Thugonomics under fire right now. Asphyxiate stun going to be cast out by Smexen onto Jamili to try to slow down some of that damage. If we look at mana, there is a slight lead right now for the boys, but M2KC, they've been doing a great job slowing down the mana rifts, and as a result, extending Rubcub's mana.
All right, Rubcub doing a good job so far here against the boys. Relentless train down strategy. Rubcub crossing to midfield, looking like he wants to crowd control Gorecki. Stuns him. Not looking for a Cyclone, a Hex instead by Jamili. Gorecki unable to heal for some time now, but did get Iron Bark anticipating that attack and crowd control, so the Iron Bark basically made Thugonomics take no damage while Gorecki sat through the crowd control of M2KC. That was a good read on the side of the boys. Now Rubcub on the back foot, looking to kite and avoid both the Death Knight and Demon Hunter at the same time, stop Gorecki from drinking, so high value positioning there from Rubcub. But you can already see a significant lead in mana. The strategy is proving to be a lot more effective from the boys. The Restoration Druid could be the difference here, and M2KC may have to come up with a different composition to take down this variant. Rubcub is under huge pressure right now with limited defense, coming out, surviving with that Frenzied Regeneration. But now, with no trinket as he is running Relentless, every stun will sit. Shadow melts the Gliders Maledict. Well done from Rubcub. Pressure will subside as a result. Looks like Gorecki was trying to get away, but Roasty's actually switching to Gorecki. So maybe a healer race. If it's a healer race, I feel like the Assassination Rogue can actually win that race, having the Mortal Strike effect as opposed to the Demon Hunter and Death Knight, who do not have that. The Mortal Strike effect being a debuff that reduces healing on a target by 25%. So any target Roasty's attacks takes 25% less healing, whereas Smexen and Thugonomics don't have access to that debuff, so they're not going to have that extra healing reduction added to their team. So if it ends up being a healer race, I think it would be in favor of M2KC.
Look at M2KC. Rubcub, he's been in stealth forever. He's going to be able to get so much of his mana back. Drinks about 50% of his mana now, and M2KC actually has the lead. Smexen was unable to find him with really good positioning. Rubcub was able to get out of combat, get a drink, get in stealth, and that keeps them in the game. There has been good pressure on Gorecki, like you were saying, Sid, and I think that's going to be really important for Roasties and Jamili. Eventually, they can take him down. If they get a big setup with the Elemental Shaman burst available, they could easily snipe a kill on him. But the problem is, if you leave Smexen and Thugonomics on Rubcub too long, they will burn through his mana, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Gorecki forced to use his Bark Skin. He's got no trinket. If he can't recover and he gets caught in another stun, could be lights out.
Could be lights out, and then M2KC will put the boys on match point and perhaps throw a curveball for their blind pick. They don't have to play this composition blind. They could try maybe the Paladin Mage Elemental if they really wanted to give it a go against the boys just to see what happens. And then in their game 5, where they have the map selection and comp pick, they can set up a more favorable matchup. Gorecki gets stunned out of Bear Farm. This is atypical of Gorecki and a big mistake. Thugonomics is crowd controlled and can't help him. This could just be game over. One mistake. Game over. M2KC moved to match point.
I think one of the big, their spring season of performances to actually make it through to North America's top 3 in the first cup of the season. And Gorecki, he's gone for a really defensive build here.
There might be an opportunity for Jamili to get back at Sea-Doo for his comments about Championship Sunday. They're performing a lot better here in the summer season for sure. They've prepared this composition, the Rogue Elemental Shaman Restoration Druid, and so far has at least broken their slump, taking some games now off the boys and putting them on match point in the upper bracket. They've broken through the Gliders Medallion of Gorecki. That's a major objective to get out of a healer in an Arena 3v3 match, and could open opportunities to switch targets to Gorecki later on. He's got to be prepared for that. In the meantime, the boys are just gunning burning down RubCub and have pressure on Roasty, so it's difficult for him to be in bear form, but does manage to get into bear form for the stun, although he's able to escape the Mana Rift purple circle effect on the ground, avoiding its mana draining effects. Roasty is still low. Jamili is surprisingly low. The pressure from the boys is much higher here in game number 4.
Yeah, definitely solid pressure here for the boys. If you look at mana, Gurecki sitting 100% mana at this point of the game. RubCub's been struggling a little bit more. The stuns from Roasty and Jamili haven't been there quite as frequently on Thugonomics. And Thugonomics has actually opted to go back to the Gladiator's Medallion trinket choice, so he's going to be able to break out of stuns on command, which makes me think Jamili and Roasties, they need to be focusing him again, making sure they're getting those long kidney shots into the lightning lasso to sort of slow him down. Because on this map, I feel like the boys realize it's going to be really difficult for RubCub to escape all of this damage they're doing to his blue bar, to his mana bar right now with these mana rifts is going to be permanent. There's not much likelihood that at any point he can really sit down for a drink, so I feel like that was part of the boys' strategy in picking this composition.
Prison Mana Rift combo with Ursul's Vortex to make sure it lands. Boys are a lot more focused here. They're on match point. They can't afford any mistakes. They've cleaned up a lot throughout the series, and perhaps if they play perfectly, this is a matchup that they should actually win. Big burst attempt here by M2KC onto Thugonomics. Gurecki deflects it. Then Gurecki moves in to try and crowd control, but gets intercepted, although denied by Thugonomics. Good backup there on his part. Another Mana Rift secured. A significant lead already established. Nice map selection on Hook Point. It's going to be basically impossible for RubCub to drink, barring some massive mistakes on the side of the boys. Another attempt at Thugonomics' life. No Iron Bark available for this one. Gurecki gets interrupted. RubCub looks for a Cyclone. The pressure is still on. Lightning Lasso dealing a ton of damage, but Thugonomics appears to be A-OK. Catching a quick heal with a Swift Mend, and most importantly, the Burning Soul Azurite trait on the Demon Hunter. Every time he casts the spell Consume Magic, it removes a magic effect from the target, and also gives him a gigantic Absorb Shield. So anytime he comes out of a stun, he's going to be using Consume Magic, then Swift Mend will heal him up, and that combination is almost guaranteed survival. So to kill the Demon Hunter, you need to make sure they die when they're stunned, and you need to make sure that the Restoration Druid is unable to cast Swift Mend. If you can create that situation, then you most certainly can kill the Demon Hunter, but if you can't create that situation, then it's going to be very difficult to kill him until dampening.
Yeah, one adaptation I've seen in this game in particular is Smexen. Instead of going after Jamili in the matchup, which is kind of difficult, he's just sitting on Roasties. So Smexen sitting on Roasty with the Chain of Ice, with the Asphyxiate stun, is trying to free up Thugonomics, because RubCub is basically in a situation where he has to be running away. It's very easy for Thugonomics to chase him down. Roasties, however, he wants to be on top of Thugonomics as much as possible in this matchup, and Smexen is just making his life a living heck right now, spamming out the Chains of Ice with the Death Grips, with the Asphyxiate Sun, making sure he has a very difficult time landing these consistent kidney shots.
All right, double stun. This is the situation that we like to see from M2KC, but really not enough damage to force the boys' hand. They're just playing a lot more solid in terms of basically everything all around, defense and offense. Could be an opportunity for Roasties to make a power play and switch to Gurecki. That is actually the disadvantage that the boys get on this map. Sure, they can burn down the mana and stop drinks, but Gurecki is a lot easier to target down. Although they're not going for it. They're currently attacking Thugonomics. Maybe just outright killing them. This is a surprising amount of damage onto Thugonomics with that Consume Magic, Absorb Shield from the Burning Soul Azurite trait, soaks up the remainder. Thugonomics now in Metamorphosis, and while he is a gigantic demon Illidan cosplayer, he heals himself with Leech. Every attack he does heals him, so similarly to a vampire, unless he is stunned, he's going to be healing himself up quite easily and totally recovering.
Thugonomics in the vampire class. Kitty shot now on Smexen. Good damage coming in. This is what I want to see. I want the pressure on this Death Knight. They have really good burst damage. Cheap shot into cheap shot. Smexen just completely disregarding that setup. Still has the Icebound Fortitude, the anti-magic cell, the trinket, but he opts to not trade out anything, not giving it even an inch to M2KC, making him an opportunity, or a takedown target, potential target in this match. Smexen still under fire, and I think this is intelligent. They haven't been able to get too much done on Thugonomics with Smexen just sitting on Roasty, so they've decided to just switch up their targeting, going after Smexen. In the meantime, RubCub is just getting chased down by Thugonomics. He now has free reign all over this Restoration Druid, and RubCub is completely out of mana.
Yeah, RubCub is just going to run laps on the outskirts of the map, but trying to run laps against a Demon Hunter, you're never going to win that marathon. Thugonomics will be on target. Smexen isn't really going to be pressured until deeper stages of dampening, and I don't think that RPPal has the mana to make it. Icebound Fortitude for the smoke bomb is still a fair trade. Smexen gets to get on target. RPPal in a lot of trouble. He's going to struggle. 2 members of the team low on health, 0 mana to heal them back up, and if he leaves bear form, he takes a lot more damage, so he's going to go in and out of this bear form perfectly to heal his teammate and himself. I mean, both teammates now, 3 members of the team in trouble. This is looking like it's going to be going to a Game 5.
Definitely is appearing that way. M2KC is running out of time. They have to make something happen on Smexen, but Gurecki completely deflects that with the Iron Bark. RPPal, what are you going to do? Jamili 30% health, Roasty's 30% health. RPPal now finally getting a little bit of hit points back for himself, but Thugonomics just all over him, not giving him an inch. Now Smexen, Thugonomics are going to be going after RPPal. Innervate, the last thing he has available to keep his team alive, and he gets imprisoned on it. Bit of a disaster moment here for RPPal, but going for the Tranquility, looking to get as much healing out as possible. He might be able to semi-recover at 10% dampening. It's unlikely right now, but he holds on a little bit with that Innervate.
Why did Thugonomics use... That's a mistake. He used Darkness, his biggest defensive cooldown, for no apparent reason, and now Smexen actually may die. Big mistakes, I would say, in general on the Darknesses from Thugonomics in this series. 20 seconds to Vendetta. If RPPal can keep this up, they're going to advance in the upper bracket, but he doesn't have anything to work with. He's stun locked in midfield. He's trying to escape. Jamili gets interrupted on his support. Thugonomics is tearing in. RPPal barely holding on. Gladiator's Maledict gets shadow melded by RPPal, holding on by a thread. Smexen in trouble. Perhaps an opportunity to kill him momentarily. Iron Bark is about to fade. Roasties can go on all cylinders to kill this Death Knight shortly. Perhaps they can pull off the miracle. If they get any crowd control into Gurecki, a Bash, a Cyclone, a Hex, anything, maybe they don't even need it. There's no defense if they can kill him in the stun lock. They have to kill him 100-0. Where's the Lightning Lasso? They get the Lightning Lasso. They break it up, but he's going to go down.
I can't believe it!
Mistakes by Thugonomics' Darkness this entire series, actually, and M2KC are looking like they should be able to advance. Gurecki taps out.
Yeah, normally RPPal's on the Holy Paladin to get those kind of miracles, but really holding it down on that Restoration Druid in this matchup. Really well done.
Windwalker Mage. Neverlucky knew they would play that, so they played Rogue Mage, which you would... I feel like the Rogue Mage is favored in this matchup against the Windwalker Mage, so compositionally, I would say Neverlucky have the advantage, but in terms of experience, Method Orange, I guess Sea-Doo is on an alt, Zach is kind of on an alt, but I think Sea-Doo has been playing it a lot longer. Zach is one of those players that's kind of a newcomer. He's the youngest, one of the youngest for sure, and he's been multi-classing healers and damage dealers, so if he can perform here in the Rogue Mage Druid setup, that would be quite a statement for Neverlucky's power levels overall.
Well, Trell going to be going after Magedin, it looks like, in this matchup, but really good control from Neverlucky. This is a great opener, but Sam manages to avoid the opening damage. Deflected just a little bit. Finally, a full kidney shot lands. Sea-Doo into a polymorph. Trill looking to deny Magedin just a little bit with the paralysis. Does look like Sam will be able to hold on. Good start here for Neverlucky, but Method Orange, although not the best opener, hasn't had to commit too much.
Yeah, no Iron Bark, no Ice Blocks, and those are major objective points that Neverlucky didn't hit. Now Magedin on the back foot as Trill leads the charge. Colo gets caught in a polymorph. It could be an Ice Block through the Iron Bark if they can stay on target. Comet Storm coming in from Sam. Zach deflects, but it's not going to be enough. First Ice Block in favor of Method Orange. Colo is still crowd controlled. If Sea-Doo keeps his clone chain going, he gets a second. Not really worth the value of the mana to go for the third, so they're going to drop the chain, but they're still keeping their pressure. There's a surprising amount of damage output right now into Magedin. Colo Cyclones Trill. Sea-Doo gets caught in a polymorph. Mistakes on both sides for the opposing Druids, but Sam able to avoid the connect, and despite Sea-Doo being crowd controlled, not too much damage. Finally connecting, full Ray of Frost, big damage, good follow-up from Colo. That nets an Ice Block for Neverlucky, and they stay in the fight.
That was really nicely done. They were able to shut down Magedin on the re-polymorph onto Sea-Doo. Zach saw that, uses his Vanish, gets the sap into a Cyclone. Beautiful, clean setup to get that first Ice Block from Sam, but still Neverlucky a little bit behind. It's go time for Method Orange. Here's the touch of death. What is Magedin going to do? Caught into the full leg sweep. There's really not too much he can do. Big big burst damage available. That's going to be the second ice block. That was a really clean setup there by Trill, basically single-handedly forcing that ice block.
All right, ice blocks are the major objectives. The Mages have 2 of them usually in a game this quick, so Majidin is now out of ice blocks. Samayam still has 1. Never Lucky need to work quick to tie up the ice blocks. They've got Sea-Doo locked down in the stun. They need further crowd control. Where are the Polymorphs? Where are the Cyclones? Well, they're nowhere to be found, and Iron Bark is going to stabilize Samayam. So now Majidin's on the back foot. Kolo is struggling to recover. Gets caught on a heal by Samayam. Perfect Polymorph timing. Majidin could easily fall here. Trill connects. Majidin's got almost nothing left. If they get any crowd control on Kolo, it's game over, but they stop it. Beautiful counter spell. Now Sea-Doo gets interrupted, or gets caught, and Samayam has to ice block. Good turnaround from Never Lucky. We've evened up the ice block ball game, and it's anyone's match.
Yeah, Majidin's been holding on to his Icy Veins the entire game. When is he going to use it? Sea-Doo now in a Cyclone. Icy Veins gets used. Majidin gets interrupted. Kolo now into a bash. Ring of Frost gets cast out by Samayam. They do find it. Both Druids in crowd control. Samayam just a little bit behind right now. Trill trying to force some pressure. Gets the leg sweep. Unfortunately misses the double onto Kolo, but Majidin still just taking so much damage. I don't know if he can survive right now. Samayam looking for an Ebon Bolt. Is Majidin gonna fall? It looks like both of these mages will survive for now. Sea-Doo still in a Cyclone. Can he get the follow-up on Kolo? Does manage to find it. Iron Bark's already been used by Kolo. Once that fades, Majidin is gonna be really vulnerable in this matchup.
Look at it, Touch of Death in 24 seconds. If Trill gets to that Touch of Death, there's absolutely no way Majidin survives it. So even if just Samayam waits, it's getting better and better for Method Orange to take game number 1. And when the teams have so much composition diversity, you have to win the blind pick so you can have the swing match advantage for the rest of the series should this go all the way to a game 5. 5 seconds away now for Trill. 4, 3, 2, 1. Next leg sweep. There's absolutely no way Majidin survives. If it's available right now, I'm very surprised to not just see them go for it. I guess they're on the back foot. They break up the crowd control a little bit. Sea-Doo gets interrupted. Samayam's in trouble. Trill tries to go for the kill at the same time. Both mages in equal trouble at this point in time, but it's looking like Majidin's going to fall here. Big damage. Touch of Death explodes. Kolo's in a Cyclone, and Majidin is likely to fall. He's barely staying alive. Frost Nova on the images, holding out for now. Kolo Cyclones the Monk. Samayam gets stunned. Never Lucky survive what should have been the end of the game, and giving themselves an opportunity to now kill Samayam. 15 seconds away from Sea-Doo's defense.
Yep, Samayam does find the Shadow Meld on that Gladiator's Maledict, one of the things keeping him alive. There is a Polymorph onto Sea-Doo right now. Samayam's still in a little bit of trouble. Finally, Sea-Doo gets the re-stealth out of the Polymorph, looking for some heals. Iron Bark going to be available for both Druids very shortly. Samayam into a kidney shot. What is Sea-Doo going to do? An immediate Iron Bark to deny some of that damage. Paralysis on Kolo into a bash. Majidin left in a situation where he's all by himself, but it's Samayam who's on the back foot. Zach forced to use his blind defensive onto Trill as he realized Majidin is just in so much trouble. Kolo still in a Cyclone. Majidin getting low. Ray of Frost coming in from Samayam. Majidin blinks through Samayam, avoiding a little bit of damage. Does get some big heals from Kolo and manages to stay alive.
I don't know if Pack Rats would have stayed alive this long on Mage. Majidin is having a great showing here in game number 1 for Never Lucky, and potentially his survival tactics could be enough to pull off a victory. 38 seconds to his ice block. Still over a minute away from Samayam's. Sea-Doo gets interrupted. A big opportunity for Zach and Majidin to get a kill. They get the follow-up, but Samayam equally kiting as effectively as Majidin, avoids all of the damage and stays totally fine.
Nice,
but they stack up. Beautiful Ring of Peace, stacking them up for a triple leg sweep by Trill. They get the follow-up Cyclone. Majidin once again on the run, but he's not escaping Trill. Trill on target, doing a lot of damage along with Samayam, and Majidin likely to fall. How many lives does Majidin actually have? Kolo connects Iron Bark, 6 seconds away from his ice block. He actually might hold out to the ice block, and then he can turn this around and kill Samayam. Sea-Doo activates Iron Bark. Both Druids actually almost completely out of mana. Sea-Doo gets caught in a Polymorph. Bit of an error here, but maybe his Iron Bark will be enough to tide the crowd control chain should they be able to break it up. They get the next Polymorph. They're not breaking up the crowd control. If Kolo gets the clone, this game ends and Never Lucky take it. Kolo doesn't get the clone, goes for the bash now. Sea-Doo can trinket, but Trill's trying to stall it out with Paralysis. Both Mages in trouble, but Majidin has Ice Block. He Ice Blocks the Touch of Death immediately, cancels the Ice Block to go for the kill, stops Samayam on the Polymorph, then looking for some Polymorphs on the Fists of Fury instantly. Big Whirling Dragon Punch. Majidin still low on health. Blizzard to get Kolo out of stealth. They've got him totally tapped. Mageddon holds out, but now Samayam has his ice block, and Method Orange have the advantage.
Yeah, Method Orange, they have the mana advantage. They have the ice block advantage. Samayam has to get forced into this ice block right here, right now, but it's looking like Mageddon will be the one to fall. Colo into a polymorph, leg sweep onto Mageddon. Cyclone coming in from Sea-Doo. Mageddon, is he going to be able to survive again? Now Trill, finally all over him. Colo does find some healing. A Cyclone coming in from Sea-Doo. Might have been a mistake. Now Mageddon has the Cold Snap available. If he gets that Cold Snap off with the Ice Barrier, he might be able to survive. That was an unfortunate Cyclone coming in from Sea-Doo. A little bit missed time. Mageddon will survive because of it. Samayam with the Icy Veins trying to continue the pressure. Trail into a bash. Good control from both teams. 15% dampening. Mageddon doesn't get topped off. And unfortunately, Ice Block overlapped with the Iron Bark once again coming in from Never Lucky.
There's no mana. There's no Ice Block. Samayam has 2. Method Orange should take this. Barring a massive mistake, they should easily take this. Colo's crowd controlled by Sea-Doo. Mageddon holds on once again by the skin of his teeth, but ultimately cannot avoid this situation. It is finally checkmate. Constant back and forth, game number 1, but Method Orange take it.
Big burst windows and opportunities, forcing out Ice Blocks in that game. We'll have to see if he can get it done in game number 2 as well. What is the opener going to be like? Although Never Lucky did get great crowd control in the last game, Samayam had really good positioning. He was able to avoid damage and basically completely shut down that beautiful opener of Never Lucky, not really giving them any sort of ice block or ground whatsoever.
Big hit on the Samayam early on here by Never Lucky, but Colo is in the Cyclone, so they're striking back. Mageddon just ice blocking, respecting the burst, but it wasn't Touch of Death. There's a big opening for Trill now, so maybe a bad call on the ice block that early. Sea-Doo's actually sitting through a blind. You do not want to have the Druid comfortably sit through a blind. They go for Ring of Frost, they stun Trill, and they gun down for Samayam. If they don't get an ice block with this and Sea-Doo sits through the crowd control, that could be devastating. I don't think he's going to get away with not trading an ice block. Maybe holding out on 10%. Iron Bark, this would be a huge lead for Method Orange if they can hold out without ice blocking. Still struggling to heal through the pressure with Vendetta rolling from Zach. Iron Bark's defense is about to fade. They drop Smoke Bomb, line of sighting Sea-Doo from healing his mage Samayam. Sea-Doo runs into it, but that may not be enough. Ice block forced. Both mages now down an ice block in an even ball game.
Yeah, definitely an even ball game right now. What are they going to be able to get done? Samayam finally gets topped off. What a close call. That Maledict incoming, denying some of that healing from Sea-Doo. Samayam almost falls without getting that ice block off. If we look at mana, Sea-Doo just a little bit behind at this point in the game. Samayam blinks in with the Icy Veins, looking to get aggressive. Now into a full kidney shot. He's got no trinket. He used it in the first one of the game. There's a leg sweep on Mageddon, bash on Colo. Keep in mind, Colo's playing Relentless, so all of these crowd control chains are full. Bash into DR Polymorph. Mageddon taking some big bursts from the Comet Storm. And that is going to be the second ice block forced out. Are they going to be able to mirror with Samayam? Can they get that Cold Snap forced out of him? He still hasn't used it, so he's going to have an opportunity to use 2 ice barriers to deny that second ice block.
Method Orange take the lead, and now with Touch of Death available, Trill should trounce Mageddon very shortly if he can stay on target. Never Lucky strike back prior with good crowd control so far on Sea-Doo, but they drop the chain. Sea-Doo ducks for cover and stealth to avoid any further crowd control, and now that he's gotten out of that crowd control chain, it's go time. Trill is on Polymorph DR. This is perfect for him. He's on Cyclone Diminishing Return. There's no way to crowd control Trill now on his Touch of Death. He's going to get 100% uptime. Maybe he wants to wait to combo it together, but I feel like he should just go now. There's the Touch of Death. There's the leg sweep. Ursul's Vortex. Mageddon waits for it, then blinks away, but Fists of Fury are flying. Zach instantly cheap shots it. That was the only crowd control that could have stopped Trill, but he's still able to connect a bit of damage. Touch of Death explodes. Mageddon somehow holds out. That was definitely a clutch cheap shot from Zach, disrupting Trill's kill attempt here, but Mageddon gets cycloned at low health by Sea-Doo. Samayam, although, getting pressured by Zach. Mageddon could be in trouble out of these Cyclones. No Iron Bark for 3 seconds if Trill can get up some big damage. He's polymorphed, dispelled instantly by Sea-Doo. Cone of Cold snared by Mageddon. Trying to avoid Trill at all costs as he has no ice blocks. What's the mana situation right now? Sea-Doo is pretty low, but I'm wondering where Colo's is. Good double stun from Never Lucky. Mageddon staying alive means they have an opportunity to get an ice block here and now. Samayam, though, Shadow melds the Gladiator's Maledict. A second one incoming. Still under pressure, dispelled instantly now by Sea-Doo. Can he heal through the damage? Zach has been getting a lot of uptime. Innervate activated. Sea-Doo powering out some Cyclones for free, but Samayam is still on the back foot. Likely Mageddon going down, though, at the same time. He just gets crushed by Trill. Trill with the hard carries on that Windwalker Monk, really taking it to Mageddon in game number 2.
Yeah, Method Orange looking better and better here.
His opportunities. Of course, they're going to have Volito with the Purge. The Elemental Shaman Purge is quite strong. He'll be able to strip off the ice barrier from Sam I Am, as well as some of Sidhu's heal over time effects. We've kind of talked about how powerful Lightning Lasso is, especially when you follow up a stun. So if Colo can move in, he can get the bash, and they can follow that up with the Lightning Lasso with Frozen Orb and Comet Storm. Mageddon really has available. That's a big opportunity for them. They might be able to take down Sidhu, but I think for the most part, Never Lucky, they're going to focus on heavy disruption on Sam I Am and try to get an advantage that way.
Trill getting on target. Mageddon looking for another polymorph, interrupted. Sam I Am, though, in a bit of trouble. Volito tossing out tons of damage. Sidhu denies the kill with Iron Bark and begins to stabilize. Trill now trying to get back onto Mageddon as soon as possible. Dispelled instantly by Sidhu. Sidhu doing a good job to keep Trill's uptime maximized. Trill engaging crowd control and looking for an ice block push. Maybe going to find it through Iron Bark. Doesn't look like it. Ice barrier from Mageddon absorbing some hits. Now looking to counter attack as soon as possible. Volito has been left open this entire time. Really ripping into Sam I Am, but no major cooldowns forced just yet. Now switching actually to Trill. So maybe they jump off the side and kite around the outskirts trying to kill Trill. Trill's not going to fall for that trap. He is not going to jump into 3 enemy players. He's just going to pull back, retreat away, look for a reset and a drink. Volito sees Sidhu going for a drink, moves forward, drops a totem on him, and I do believe kept him in combat. We'll have to see what the mana is at the end of this. Colo is most certainly at full, but Sidhu, on the other hand, not entirely sure. When he comes out of bear form, we will be able to find out. It's still close enough that it wasn't of much significance, but of course, later in the game, it could be.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's a Lightning Lasso over on the Sam I Am. Sidhu actually getting interrupted there, but he had the Iron Bark preemptively used. And neither of these Druid has really been getting too aggressive in this game with the Feral Affinity we normally see from Restoration Druids. Both Colo and Sidhu haven't been opting to use it that often. Sidhu now moving in, trying to get some crowd control out. Colo with the counter bash, looking for a Cyclone. Does manage to find it. Now Mageddon could be in a little bit of trouble. Colo trying to heal him up, but nice Ring of Peace denies the Cyclone. Trill in hot pursuit, but just don't think they have the damage just yet to take down Mageddon. Sam I Am throws in a Kleptomania Spell Steal to remove some of those heal over time effects, but it looks like Colo will easily be able to respond with that Iron Bark.
No ice blocks on either side at this point, and mana is even. But Never Lucky are on match point, so the pressure is in favor of Method Orange. They have to win 3 games in a row against the reigning BlizzCon champions. Can they pull it off with this Mage, Elemental Shaman, Restoration Druid? Sam I Am getting Gladiator's Maledict activated on him, but no follow-up afterwards, so maybe a bit of an uncoordinated assault. Trill looks like he's under control right now from Mageddon, really focusing on polymorphs. Likely to save the last diminishing return to interrupt Fists of Fury, as that is the most powerful ability the Windwalker Monk has. You can interrupt it with crowd control, polymorph being a very good and efficient usage of it. Both Druids actually sitting down for a drink again. Colo gets back to full mana, Sidhu doesn't, so a further lead for Colo in that regard, but I would say momentum-wise that Method Orange are dealing a lot more damage. Mageddon very low on health, Colo bashed out of Cyclone, perfect timing, crowd control from Sidhu, gets Method Orange the first ice block.
Yeah, and it looks like Mageddon will be a little bit behind on that ice block race once again. Keep in mind, Method Orange is up 2-0 in the series. If Never Lucky want to stay alive in the upper bracket, they have to win this game, but Method Orange has been really dominant so far, and they're ahead in game number 3 as well. Never Lucky has some catch up to do. Touch of Death gets committed by Trill, but a nice Frost Nova from Mageddon will deny. A Ring of Peace knocks him back into the images. Mageddon might just fall. Nice burst damage. Beautiful setup by Trill once again. Mageddon tried to escape. He got a nice Frost Nova I called out, and then Trill just bopped him back with that Ring of Peace, got the Fist of Fury, Whirling Dragon Punch with the Touch of Death, and scored that second ice block. And now Mageddon and Never Lucky, they are way behind.
Yeah, they are, and it's match point, so the pressure is on. You've got no ice blocks. I mean, it should be KO. The map makes absolutely no sense. I think going for a more open field map and maybe trying to kill Trill could have been a strategy, but on Dalaran Sewers, it's just so close quarters. The Windwalker Monk is able to stay on target far too much. credit where credit is due. Sea-Doo is doing a good job dispelling Trill. Trill is able to stay on target with good efficiency of that Tiger's Lust as well. Finally, some counter pressure onto Sam I Am with that Ray of Frost, Lightning Lasso combined together. Sea-Doo struggling to heal through the burst of it. Potentially an Ice Block. Nope, Sam I Am Shadow Melts the Gliders Maledict. They go for the second and the third, though, instantaneously afterwards. Sea-Doo denies the kill with Ironbark. Sea-Doo's moving in. He wants to close this game out, but he gets bashed first by Colo, and Colo looks to reverse crowd control in his favor. Trill denies it. Sea-Doo is now in position to get a clone. Gets the bash. Needs to get the clone. Not even going for it. Poly and Cyclone at the same time, but Colo could line of sight it. A bit of a blunder on crowd control there. That could have been the end of the game, potentially, to kill Mageddon if they had been able to land one or the other, but they waited a couple seconds, and Colo was able to slip away with that opportunity.
Yeah, nicely done by Colo, taking advantage of the opportunity to be slippery and get away. And that will allow Mageddon to survive a little bit longer. Keep in mind, he's got 3 minutes left on that ice block. Sam I Am, he's got the Icy Veins. Trill, Touch of Death in 13 seconds. Scary moment here for Never Lucky. Colo has to do a really good job managing this Iron Bark if they want to survive this next assault. Volcano needs to start getting some damage rolling as well. I mean, Sam I Am's been taking a little bit of pressure, but they haven't managed to get one ice block in this game. If we look at mana, Colo at around 85% right now, Sea-Doo at 100%. So basically, in all regards, Method Orange is just way ahead.
Yeah, Touch of Death available. Trill's on Polymorph DR if he connects. Sam I Am under some pressure. I mean, he could go down without ice blocking. That is definitely a circumstance that could occur, and basically the only circumstance where Never Lucky win at this point in the game. Good double cap totem by Volcano. Clean setup. Ironbark available for Sea-Doo. Surprising to not see him activated at this point, but I mean, there's not really any cooldowns. Sam I Am survives. Trill is now on Polymorph DR once again. Moving towards trying to get a kill on Mageddon. Now on Cyclone diminishing return. I would love to just see Method Orange push forward, collide on Colo and Mageddon simultaneously and get the kill with Touch of Death. They have all the tools available right now. Exchange some defensives to be aggressive in this position and just end the game, because by all means they've got it in the bag if they just make one clean push, and even if they get stopped by some miracle opportunity, they just have an ice block. They live later to try again. Colo is crowd controlled. This is the moment that they're looking for to close it out 3-0, but they do get the Ring of Frost. And Touch of Death explodes. Big hit by Method Orange. Clean sweep against the roster swap. Mageddon 3-0, advancing to face against Mew Mew Kitty Cats on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series as well. Obviously, there's the back and forth.
I was going to say Thorns would be a pretty
thorn in his side. Bad
talent to take in a Wizard matchup. Thorns only benefiting against melee damage dealers. Cubsy jumping in right away, but actually gets stunned up by Gorecki. Smexen trying to set up some damage. Lightning Lasso, good punish on Cubsy so far for his overextended position. Maybe they just kill him in the opener if they catch him out totally off guard. Thugonomics gets stalled out. Chanimal now looks to reverse. Cubsy is stabilized. It's Chanimal in the driver's seat with his Infernals activated. Thugonomics may look to retreat, although boldly playing at center field. Feared awkwardly actually away from Chanimal. Chanimal would have much preferred Thugonomics feared into the middle of the map. A bit unlucky. Thugonomics now trying to get a bolt. Wealthy Man blinks away from it. Good reaction time there. Cubsy poking Thugonomics. Both Warlocks unable to really get any Chaos Bolts off during their Infernals. Thugonomics sets up with a Fear. He's trying to bait and interrupt on Fear so that he can cast Chaos Bolt. Nether Ward available. Now out of the way. Thugonomics not able to get any Chaos Bolts with his Dark Soul. Chanimal still has his. They're actually attacking Cubsy pretty much every Lightning Lasso. That could be a big opening. Gorecki also being attacked, although less stuns available overall for Cloud9's composition. Perhaps if the boys can continue switching to Cubsy, they will eventually find a kill.
Yeah, out of all the Druids in North America right now, I'd have to say Gorecki and Cubsy have been a cut above the rest in terms of their Feral Affinity gameplay. So I'm interested to see which one of these Druids is able to get ahead, get out more damage in the matchup. It's also kind of an interesting dynamic here between Thugonomics and Chanimal. We know Chanimal is one of the best Warlocks in the North American region, of course, coming from Australia. And then, of course, you have Thugonomics on the Destruction Warlock, specifically where he has been holding it down for years and years. It feels like we'll have to see which one of them can come out ahead in this matchup.
Ooh, double Mortal Coil from Thugonomics with Lightning Lasso. Big setup attempt, but no damage, unfortunately. Wealthy Man playing at the pillar quite effectively, avoiding a lot of damage. The positioning of Cloud9 is perfect. Smexen and Thugonomics dipping low in this position, but Gorecki is there. He's looking like he wants to stop Cubsy from drinking, though, so he's leaving his team behind to stop Cubsy. Wealthy Man had to exchange some health, but to return full mana, that's more than good. Chanimal now stunned up, bursted by Smexen, but recovering. No real openings right now for either team. Multi-man line of sighting immediately after getting bursted by Smexen. Really want to see some coordinated stun locks by the team of the boys. Lightning Lasso, double Mortal Coil, something along these lines. The Mortal Coil Cubsy to set up on him. Big Earth Shock from Smexen. Cubsy needs to be careful. He's spending a lot of time in enemy territory. Decides to use Iron Bark on himself, as he can use Barkskin when he's stunned, and he's anticipating being the target for some time. It's wiser to use the Iron Bark rather than Barkskin at this point. Now he can also be more aggressive with its defense activated. Although having committed that, now it's not available for Wealthy Man, so if Wealthy Man is not careful, he may need to Ice Block. Smexen's having a difficult time just connecting at the moment, though. Greki jumping back to the pillar, doesn't want to be out in midfield too long with Chanimal waiting. Cubsy now moving in. Greki being smacked by Cubsy. Triple Shadow Fury out from Chanimal. Could be devastating.
Whoa!
Huge pressure. No defense for one more second. Greki barely holding on.
Yep, does manage to sneak away at the cost of his Trinket and Iron Bark. Mana relatively even for both Druids. Smexen going to be retreating with Gareki, moving across the map. They've left Thugonomics behind, though. He's caught up in snares, caught up in Novas. Chanimal, can he get any damage out? A beautiful double Mortal Coil comes in. The Unending Resolve traded out as well from Thugonomics. Gets feared up by Chanimal. Good denial on any sort of damage. Didn't want to allow Thugonomics to get full value out of that cooldown, but getting off uninterruptible Chaos Bolts, so Fear was a great choice to really slow that down.
Ooh, Infernals from Chanimal. All three members of the boys in a lot of trouble right now, but they're actually going for a kill on Cubsy. They're very low in health. Can they kill him before they die themselves? They don't get it. Now Cubsy is just smacking him, sitting on top of all three players. And just look at the pressure. This is so unexpected from the Mage Warlock, which you anticipate to win off crowd control, but they're just winning on pressure. Another Restel stun. Everyone in trouble. Greki Polymorph fortunately breaks early, able to save Thugonomics as a result. Smexen holding on by a thread. Astral Shift has to be committed on top of basically the entire defensive lineup of the boys. Smexen is still low. Shadow Fury from Chanimal. These are high value Infernals from Chanimal. It's blowing out the entire defensive lineup of the boys.
Yeah, and all three members of the boys still in a little bit of trouble. Thugonomics, although he has great hit points right now, no defensive cooldowns left to really work with. Thugonomics trying to get some counter pressure here with the Chaos Bolt onto Wealthy Man, but Wealthy Man has just been eating all of these Chaos Bolts with little regard. Has both of his Ice Blocks still available in this match. Smexen getting low in midfield. Cubsy all over him. Is he going to be able to take him down? Big damage. Nice grounding totem on that Gladiator's Maledict. Able to soak up that effect. Gareki finally moving over with a little bit of backup. Mana now, I believe, in favor of Cubsy quite heavily, in fact. So Cloud9 has that advantage moving forward.
Cloud9 looking unstoppable, except for against the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, that is. Perhaps the only team in the game right now to be able to beat Cloud9, looking at the way that this one is going on in the Grand Arena against the boys. Curious to see if they change their composition moving forward, although this may just be their best option. But if this is their best option, they're just getting trounced constantly. All three members low on health, and Greki has to expend so much mana healing. He can't get any time to get aggressive in cat form, and then Cubsy further snowballs it. Thugonomics is trying to carry the team in his back pocket by switching to Cubsy on his own. Gets some pressure, but Cubsy doesn't even care. He's just smacking Thugonomics standing in front of him, just kind of bad manner, saying there's no way I'm going down to you, and just continuing to build more momentum for the team. Perhaps maybe a little bit of overconfidence could cost them the game, but when you're at such a lead in terms of cooldowns and mana, I don't really blame Cubsy to just try and maximize his damage at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't blame him. Wealthy Man still getting a little bit lower. Is he going to have to finally use one of his Ice Blocks? Honestly, I thought the boys would have more pressure in this matchup, but Cloud9, they just play such a hyper-aggressive strategy that they sort of force their opponents into this very defensive position. Thugonomics has just been running away. Gareki now getting targeted down. Cubsy once again in his face, just getting out all kinds of pressure, and the boys are falling apart. Beautiful Shadow Fury coming in from Chanimal. Thugonomics needs a big Chaos Bolt, trying to get out of line of sight, but he cannot run away from Cubsy. Unending Resolve gets traded out. They need counter pressure, and they need it now, but they're not going to be able to find it. Infernal Stun into a Shadow Fury. Thugonomics barely holding on, but Gareki gets interrupted. Cloud9 walking all over the boys, and I did not expect this matchup to play out this way.
Two in North America, and Cloud9, #1 in North America, will be going head-to-head to eliminate each other so early on in the first cup of the summer season. Tournament lives on the line, and most importantly, maybe potentially a point-earning spot at BlizzCon on the line. If the boys are eliminated so soon, Method Orange have a big opportunity. Pressure on Chun-Li right off the bat.
Yeah, Chun-Li under fire in Immortal Coil. Gareki looking to deflect that with the Iron Bark. Nice double leg sweep coming in from Chun-Li, getting some pressure rolling for his team. what is Thugonomics going to be able to do? In the last game, he got bullied quite a bit by Wealthy Man, by Chanimal. Wasn't able to get out as many Chaos Bolts, as much damage as we normally see. But now with Chun-Li moving in, soaking up some of that damage, soaking up some of that, disables that Chanimal and Wealthy Man really are going to be able to put out in this matchup. It will free up Thugonomics quite a bit. Let's have to see how much damage he really can get out.
Wealthy Man falling a bit behind here. Chun-Li carrying the team, going for a touch of death. So they need to crowd control Chun-Li or trade a cooldown. Iron Bark, they're relying on that for now. It may not be enough. That was a huge hit. Wealthy Man's going to ice block at the same time. So a bit of an overlap, but a high value play from Chun-Li.
Yeah, Chun-Li doing some good work, but Thugonomics, these massive Chaos Bolts are what ultimately forced out that first ice block from Wealthy Man. And already, 30 seconds into this game, they were able to accomplish more than we saw with the Elemental Shaman of Smexon. So good pressure initially for the boys. The smaller map certainly helps. That's why they brought in Chun-Li on the smaller map. His uptime is going to be much higher than what you'd see on Tolvaron or in a Grand Arena. So I think it was an intelligent decision to bring in this composition on this particular map. And it has banked them an ice block very early on from Wealthy Man, but they have to actually close out the game. It's not enough to just get one ice block. Cloud9 has been playing a lot more passively. I think with the positioning the boys have taken, sort of this triangle formation where Thugonomics is at one pillar, you have Gorecki at one pillar, and Chun-Li in the midfield, they're not going to be able to do that same strategy where they sort of just overrun their opponents with mass, AoE damage with the Frozen Orb, the Blizzard. Channimals moves in with the double Mortal Coil. It's going to be a little bit different in this particular game. So I think the boys with the positioning have been doing a fantastic job so far.
I will say Chun-Li has credited whenever he's playing on the roster, why'd you pick this roster? And he says just because he likes playing with Thugonomics. So I think it was wise for them to pair up together here for game number 2 after such a poor showing in game number 1 with their Elemental Shaman Destruction Warlock. Like you said, they've already gotten more done in the first minute of the game than they did in the entirety of the last one. Now switching targets to Chanimal, trying to throw Cubsy for a loop, maybe expend more heal over time effects, maybe just get a kill. Chanimal in quite a bit of trouble in midfield. Cubsy being pressured by Gorecki, so Cubsy decides to abandon that position, gate across, recover on the opposing side, but his mana is significantly behind. Strategy and map selection perfect from the boys. Synergy looking solid as well between Chun-Li and Thugonomics. Pressure continues to mount in their favor.
Yeah, Thugonomics just been a turret in this game. He took the initial pillar, got out a lot of damage. Now he's taken over the team of Cloud9's pillar, and he just hasn't really been moving from these spots. Look at him, he's just spamming out Chaos Bolts. Wealthy Man forced to run away. Chanimal in midfield. Chun-Li actually chasing Wealthy Man down. Wants to get out that second ice block if he can. I'm not sure he's going to be able to solo it out with Cubsy right there, but Chun-Li just throwing over a touch of death on Cubsy. Wants to really get this pressure rolling on all 3 members, and you can tell the boys on this composition, they are a lot more comfortable. They're all over the place, sort of freestyling in this matchup. In the last game, we did not see that kind of confidence.
Yeah, we definitely didn't. They're looking solid to take game 2 here, tie it up to lower bracket. Both the teams face elimination, which is still so surprising this early on in the tournament. Cubsy is in stealth. He's sneaking around the map and trying to drink. The boys need to find where he is as soon as possible and stop it. Gorecki knows where he is and he's trying to get there, but Wealthy Man is slowing him down. How much mana did Cubsy ultimately get from that exchange? Perhaps some, but I don't think nearly enough to really win the game off of. He's still significantly behind. Wealthy Man getting Chaos Bolted by Thugonomics. Chanimal trying to Chaos Bolt Chun-Li off. He actually uses Touch of Karma just to redirect damage and stay on target. Wealthy Man's forced to polymorph Chun-Li desperately to recover, but damage is still mounting in favor of the boys. Cubsy has to make a decision to Iron Bark. He chooses not to, but now he's crowd controlled. Wealthy Man's trying to just avoid damage on the outskirts of the map and line of sight Thugonomics in this position, and he should be able to. Cubsy slowly but surely recovering. Gorecki with Thugonomics at the pillar. Gorecki a little bit reluctant to push out and try and get any damage going. Now jumping and crowd controlling Cubsy. If he can get anything out of the bash, perhaps not able to in this position, unfortunately. So the crowd control chain is lost. Wealthy Man should recover. It's Gorecki now who could be in trouble. Infernals have landed. How are they going to get something done here? Thugonomics is trying to Chaos Bolt Chanimal, I could only imagine. Maybe Wealthy Man blinking out of line of sight. Now Chanimal looking to reverse, so both Warlocks have activated their most powerful cooldown. They're going to be the most threatening that they can be in the matchup at this moment in time, but Chanimal is the one who is on the back foot.
Yeah, Chanimal having to play a little bit of a line of sight game right now. Thugonomics not able to get out too much damage. It's been good control from Wealthy Man. If we look at mana, Cubsy is way behind in this matchup. If they can just deny those drinks coming in from Cubsy, the boys can secure a massive lead on this map, whereas Gorecki, look at him, he has so much freedom with this position to just sit down. He's going straight to full mana. Cubsy on 10%. The boys in a commanding lead at this point in terms of cooldowns as well as mana. Wealthyman getting a little bit low as well. He got interrupted on Frost. He has to hold on a little bit longer. Can Chun-Li force out the ice block? Thugonomics gets interrupted by Chanimal. Good backup. Wealthyman is able to hold on to that second ice block. Cold Snap almost available, so he'll have 3 ice blocks moving forward. Cubsy still not an opportunity to get away quite yet in this game, but he doesn't seem too concerned. He's still playing really aggressive, moving in cat form, trying to generate some damage for his team. Now finally repositioning, and this could be the moment, the defining moment in this game where Cloud9 tries to get back in by allowing Cubsy to get some mana.
All right, Chanimal trying to save Wealthyman as he was stunned up by Gorecki. Gorecki sees Cubsy sneaking away, and he's trying to stop him. Will he be able to find him is the question. How much mana did he get? Cubsy got at least just a bit to keep this fight going on into dampening. Wealthyman has survived to the point where that first ice block is now no longer relevant. He will have 2 for the remainder of the match at this point in time. Gorecki still with a significant mana lead. I can't help but feel that these swaps to Cubsy haven't really been paying off. Perhaps if Chun-Li had just been staying on target, Wealthyman would have already been dead at this point. They still want to go onto the Druid. They're trying to kill Cubsy, but Chanimal is there to deny. Perfect triple Shadow Fury, stalling damage and allowing Cubsy to slip away to safety. Chun-Li and Thugonomics now on the back foot. Chaos Bolt's flying in from Chanimal. But Thugonomics ducks around the corner. Chun-Li sees Cubsy sneaking away. Gorecki does as well, but Gorecki gets snared up on his way to Cubsy. Gorecki needs to stop him. He moonfires him, keeps him in combat, stops the drink. Wealthyman in a bit of trouble. Ring a piece back into Chun-Li's clutches. Ice block forced. Momentum continuing to carry in favor of the boys. It's looking better and better. I'm trying to see any opportunities for Cloud9, and there really aren't any at this point.
Yeah, this is surprising. I feel like this is a matchup we've seen before, but it definitely go this way. Definitely did not go this way. The boys, lots of pressure, lots of momentum. Wealthyman, of course, does have that 3rd ice block that has rotated back up. Cold Snap has come off cooldown. He was able to use it. Now he has 1 more available. Touch of Death is rolling for Chun-Li with the Fortifying Brew. Big damage on Wealthyman. What's he gonna do? He gets stunned. Another ice block forced out, and now Cloud9 in a position where Wealthyman, he does not have another ice block for another 4 minutes. There is a huge window of opportunity. You can see Thugonomics, he has the Infernals, he has the Darkskull, he has all the tools he needs to close out this game. Are they going to be able to do it? Are they going to be able to tie up this series?
They have to kill Gorecki. He used his Glider's Medallion, pop Infernals, pop Icy Veins, and kill Gorecki. That's all you can do. And as long as Gorecki doesn't put himself in a position where that's possible, then the boys have Cloud9 in checkmate. They've run them out of mana, they've run the Mage out of cooldowns, they just need to stay on target. Right now they're actually attacking Chanimal. I mean, they get Unending Resolve, but I feel like, can't help but feel the attack would have been better onto Wealthyman. Perhaps Wealthyman is just making it too difficult to attack him at that moment in time. Although the boys' positioning is starting to be compromised, they're standing too close to each other, and you can already see the damage sinking into 3 members. They should definitely focus on spreading out a bit, maintaining their position. They're trying to go for the all-in on Gorecki. This is their only chance. They have to kill him 100-0. If they can do it, they're going to win, but if they can't, they're going to lose. Seconds away from being able to finish him off. They have to take him down. They don't do it. He survives, and now Wealthyman in a lot of trouble. Chaos Bolt's flying over. Wealthyman in desperation to hold out, manages to hold on for now. Cloud9 don't get the kill. If perhaps they can stay alive, they could get 1 more swing at Gorecki, but it's not going to pack that much punch.
What a tense moment for both teams. Wealthyman was just caught in a stun. He wanted to get out just a little bit more damage, but Chun-Li denied him with a nice leg sweep, and as a result, Gorecki does manage to survive, and the boys managed to stay ahead. As we were saying, that was the one opportunity, one shot that Cloud9 really had to take down Gorecki and take down the boys. Now I'm not sure where their opening is, really. They committed a lot to that offense. Wealthyman still no ice block for another 3 minutes. Boys have Touch of Death rolling out. There's a lot of damage available with that cooldown, and if they can do it, they might be able to take Wealthyman down. But in the meantime, Cubsy actually getting swapped to. Touch of Death committed. Rake Stun comes in. Big damage. Cubsy trying to survive, but good night. Chun-Li with the leg sweep to Touch of Death does manage to secure the kill and tie up the series. And that matchup actually looked really good for the boys, but I can't help but feel it was just because of that smaller map.
Yeah, I mean, potentially it's the map, but either way, the
Arena, this is certainly going to be their worst map, but if they can find victory here, I mean, this is going to be looking very good for the boys, as I don't really think Cloud9 has a better answer to this composition.
On this map, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Chun-Li. He was was kind of the MVP for the boys, setting up all the kills and all the opportunities. But if he is pulled into a bad position, and Tolvaran has a lot of those, he could easily become the greatest strength, or go from the greatest strength to the greatest weakness of the team on Tolvaran, which means that Cloud9 would move to match point and eliminate the boys from the tournament, and that then gives Method Orange an opportunity to catch them in points and possibly steal away their qualification to BlizzCon.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what Cloud9 is going to go after in this matchup. I want to still have a really great showing in this tournament. Obviously, I mean, they've already qualified to BlizzCon based off their performance in the spring finals. They were able to get the first place finish, and they are the team to beat right now. The boys definitely have their work cut out for them. What is Chun-Li, Gorecki, and Thugonomics going to be able to get done here in game number 3 is the question. Chun-Li putting some pressure over on the Chanimal. We saw in game number 2 the sort of bounce between all 3 targets. They were able to get 3 ice blocks from Wealthy Man, lots of damage over on the Chanimal, including getting out against Unending Resolve. Ultimately, it was Cubsy that fell on a big swap, so the boys have a lot of options in this matchup, kind of just going after whoever Thugonomics can get that damage off. You can see him positioned very far away, just acting as sort of a turret for his team, spamming out the Incinerates, spamming out the Chaos Bolts, really just trying to find some damage.
Yeah, they've got Chun-Li positioned at the entrance to the starting room. Curious if they drag him any further into the corner or not. Currently happy to have him here, I suppose. Chanimal getting switched to by Chun-Li. Doesn't want to overextend too much. Decent pressure so far on the Chanimal, but no significant mana advantage just yet. Nether Ward from Chanimal, sending that Chaos Bolt right back at Thugonomics. Good timing by both Warlocks in this matchup with their Nether Wards, hitting some very powerful spells with them. Thugonomics smartly banishing the Fell Hunter, Chanimal as well. So if the Fell Hunter, the demonic pet of the Warlock, is banished or crowd controlled, you cannot use Spell Lock, which can interrupt Chaos Bolts. So both of the Warlocks are frequently looking to banish the Fell Hunters, then cast their most important spells. So you either interrupt that banish, which then later you can't stop Chaos Bolt, or if you don't interrupt the banish, you can cast Chaos Bolt. So the highest level of play from the Warlocks, as would be expected between veterans, BlizzCon champion Chanimal, and veterans like Thugonomics, of course, here in the match. It's still so surprising to see them in the lower bracket facing elimination against each other.
Yeah, it definitely is. Chun-Li and Wealthy Man in midfield right now, trying to get some damage rolling. Wealthy Man blinks away, trying to overextend Chun-Li. That's the main vulnerability for the boys, is the fact that Chun-Li is on the Windwalker Monk. If he gets dragged into an unideal position, they can take advantage of that. Chanimal, Wealthy Man can get out a lot of consistent damage. On this map also, it's going to be a lot easier for Cubsy to sneak away, get drinks, recover his mana, and that's something that definitely came into play in game number 2.
Wealthy Man is under a bit of pressure. Surprising to not see Ironbark committed during that assault. Crowd control alone should be enough. Chun-Li switches targets. Thugonomics backs him up. Chaos Bolt flies in, connects to Chanimal. Gorecki is crossing midfield, looking like he wants to push onto Cubsy for crowd control. Believe Cubsy sees him. He's trying to avoid him. Will he be able to land the stun lock? Cubsy gets paralysis. That sets up Gorecki to move in. Gets the bash for follow-up, but Chun-Li can't connect. He's crowd controlled far too much. Can't do any damage with that little attempt onto Cubsy. Chun-Li getting Frost Nova instantly on his Flying Serpent kick. He's then going to just switch targets to Wealthy Man, start flying out some Fist of Fury. Gorecki has given up his aggressive positioning, going back to the pillar with Thugonomics, not wanting to get swapped to. Obviously, likely tracking the Infernals with Thugonomics whenever those are available. Gorecki is always positioned in the best place to survive, as that is definitely a win condition for Cloud9 on this map. If they can get Gorecki in a good spot, blow him up in a stun lock. So Gorecki's going to be waiting patiently for Chanimal to commit those Infernals before making a move. Although, as I say that, maybe looking across, Cloud9 they've just got them in a position where they have to push forward. So the boys move in as a unit together, trying to collapse onto Wealthy Man. Gorecki needs to slip around the corners and avoid being stacked up with his team at all costs. Infernal's not called in just yet. Both Warlocks playing it patiently.
Yeah, both Warlocks holding on to the defensive cooldowns. Chanimal, Cubsy positioned at the pillar right now. Thugonomics, Gorecki as well. Sort of a mirror match. Wealthy Man in the open with Chun-Li, but Chun-Li's just getting caught into a lot of crowd control. Big burst setup here on Gorecki. And Sebastian, the Mortal Coil, what is he going to be able to do? Does manage to escape. Beautiful spell lock coming in from Thugonomics. Great backup from that Destruction Warlock, keeping Gorecki alive. Really didn't have to use too many cooldowns there. Gorecki moving in, gets the bash done over onto Cubsy. Gorecki now throwing over his Gladiator's Mallet to come to Cubsy as well. There's a bit of an interesting choice. Cubsy does manage to just Shadow Meld it and get away. Now, across the map, he's going to be looking to recover his precious mana. And knowing that, Chun-Li, he wants to get aggressive on Chanimal, punish Cubsy. They might be able to get the unending resolve. They do. They might be able to get more. If they can get crowd control on Cubsy, Chanimal could easily fall.
Yeah, at any moment here, unending resolve is over. Infernals have landed for both sides. Iron Bark needs to be enough, but the question is, will it be enough? Chanimal holds out, now goes for a double Mortal Coil of his own, looking to set up and ramp for some big Chaos Bolts himself. Chun-Li looking to be the target right now, at least for Wealthy Man. Chaos Bolt casted, connects. Touch of Karma, though, instantly by Chun-Li on its damage effect, redirecting the damage back to Chanimal. Chun-Li then switching targets again to Wealthy Man. Gorecki is backing him up, adding some Feral Affinity pressure to try and force an Ice Block. It's looking good to get it. Swiftman denies it for now. It's actually unbelievable. They're not able to get an Ice Block from Wealthy Man. Chanimal still remains a pretty decent target as they got Unending Resolve. Cubsy traded that cooldown on Chanimal to drink and regenerate full mana. So at least they did get a cooldown for the drink of Cubsy. Chun-Li needs to be careful with no Touch of Karma, although Diffuse Magic is very potent in this specific matchup. Chanimal looking for some Chaos Bolts, using Nether Ward to avoid being spell locked, although not really able to get too much damage off the back of it. Thugonomics being interrupted by Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man knows he's in a bit of trouble here out in the midfield, so using his interrupt to stop damage is a high priority. Cubsy sitting down for a drink in the back line, as you can see him there, trying to avoid the Ring of Peace, but inevitably crowd controlled. Chanimal knows that he's the most vulnerable target. He repositions to the pillar to line of sight Thugonomics. Chun-Li will be the only member to attack him. If Thugonomics pushes forward, he's actually going to go for it. Uses the Demonic Gateway to close the gap and potentially close out game number 3 here. Try and put Cloud9 on match point, but Cubsy is there to block it.
Yeah, Cubsy's going to be blocking that. He's across the map right now, looking to recover his mana once again. And you can see Wealthy Man midfield, Chanimal midfield as well. They're going to be able to deny Chun-Li and Gorecki from really swapping it up. Big Chaos Bolts coming in from Thugonomics, forcing Wealthy Man to run away once again. They're playing a very defensive playstyle right now. I really feel like what they want to do is just limit Thugonomics. Thugonomics in the last game was able to get out way too much damage with those Chaos Bolts. So if Wealthy Man and Chanimal, they can just focus the spell lock, focus the counter spell on the denial from Thugonomics while just putting a lot of crowd control on Chun-Li. They can limit Chun-Li's damage, also keep Thugonomics as sort of a sitting duck in this matchup. But the boys, they're trying to capitalize on that. They're going to be going after Chanimal, who is overextended in this position. Cubsy very far away, does manage to top off Chanimal. Wealthy Man still just acting like a turret for his team, looking to get very aggressive as Cubsy once again looking to get out of combat, looking to get in cat form, sip on that water, recover that mana. That's going to put them in a great spot as we move towards 20% dampening.
Yeah, it definitely is. Having full mana at this deep of dampening, very important for the Restoration Druids in a matchup like this. Wealthy Man needs to be a bit careful. He's out in midfield, and all 3 members are teeing off. There's no Iron Bark for a couple of seconds. Big heal from Cubsy, relying on those nourishes, trusting the casted heals. Holds on to his Ice Blocks for a later time. Curious to see where this ends up overwhelming. Who's going to overstep their bounds? Because at any moment, if you overextend, you're going to expose yourself to those Destruction Warlocks, Chaos Bolts, and the game could close in a matter of seconds. Thugonomics interrupted, stuck in midfield. He's the target right now for Cloud9. Gorecki knows that, activates Iron Bark and saves him. Cloud9 see the defensive Iron Bark and switch targets, attacking Chun-Li, looking to get 2 cooldowns for 1 push, and they do manage to get Touch of Karma, so this is a nice attack by Cloud9. It sets them up with multiple targets to go after in the future.
Yep, Chun-Li very vulnerable now without that Touch of Karma, but he has the Diffused Magic and the Fortifying Brew. He has his portal in a good position, so at any point he could use the Transcendence to escape battle. Wealthy Man with his Icy Veins looking to get Omega aggressive right now onto Chun-Li, putting out big burst damage. Fists of Fury being channeled out on Wealthy Man as he kites away. Chanimal really tearing into Chun-Li right now on 50% health. He has to be a little bit scared. Fortifying Brew might be enough to keep him alive, but Chun-Li on the melee, he's very vulnerable in this situation. Chanimal into a leg sweep. Are they going to be able to get the damage rolling on him? Thugonomics just in a polymorph. Good denial there by Wealthy Man on that setup.
Yep, good denial once again from Cloud9, playing out the map very effectively, and they have the swing match advantage. So even if the boys bring Game 4 to a small map and find victory, Cloud9 can just bring it to Ashen Mains and close the series out. So the boys need a good answer if they can't pull this off here on Tolvaron. This composition may not work for them. They're falling behind in pretty much every regard at this point. Infernals available for each Warlock. These Infernals likely to be the last set in the match, maybe not even necessary. Thugonomics is just blown out overstepping for even 1 centimeter and falling to the pressure of Cloud9, who now put the
qualification are reset, and one of these teams will not be making it to the top 4 in this first cup.
That would be devastating for either team, but of course, pressure in favor now of Cloud9 on match point, but the boys smartly so, bringing it to a small map. I would say maybe the major weakness for the boys' composition on a small map would be Gurecki. He can definitely be swapped to and bursted down. We've seen Cloud9 do that time and time again. I would like to see them employ that strategy facing this composition on Dalaran's sewers. Perhaps, though, they can use the bottom part of the map on the outskirts of the square to kite away from Chun-Li and create big gaps and play a similar style to what they just did on Tolvaron. It looks like the boys are actually going for the aggressive strategy, trying to go after Cubsy right off the bat, bursting him down to half, trying to jump to safety. Manages to recover. Good recovery on Cubsy's part, not overextending any significant defensive cooldowns to the initial assault of the boys.
Yep, good start here. There's a double shadow fear onto Gurecki, onto Thugonomics. Channel under fire once again. And on the smaller map, we kind of talked about the Windwalker Monk of Chun-Li is going to be able to get out significantly more pressure. Channel just in the face of the boys right now, in the face of danger, drops down his Infernals, looking to get some damage rolling. While the man Cubsy positioned very far away. The last game we saw Thugonomics fall. Is he going to be the main pressure point once again? Initially, they were going after Chun-Li, but I think they've realized it's better just put control onto the Windwalker Monk. Such a durable target with the low cooldown Fortifying Brew, Diffuse Magic, and Touch of Karma that maybe not the best idea to be consistently going after him, try to limit his damage a little bit more, and then go after Thugonomics. Spam those interrupts out onto his Chaos Bolts, keep him in stun locks, and try to take him down. But that requires a little bit more dampening, unless they can get a really good crowd control chain on a Gurecki. Chun-Li now into a fear. Thugonomics still the main target of choice. Gurecki positioned in cat form right now, moving forward, getting the bash over onto Wealthy Man. Thugonomics lands a big Chaos Bolt. Is he going to be able to land another? Chun-Li getting out of line of sight from any sort of fears from Channel with that Fist of Fury. That was really good positioning to get us some damage, but unfortunately, there's just too much healing from Cubsy, and Wealthy Man easily gets topped off.
Good recovery again by Cloud9. They've got good pressure right now as well onto the boys. The boys need to work on splitting up. If they stack up for even a moment, they get cleaved down by Cloud9's damage. So positioning being compromised could be an opportunity for Cloud9 to close the series out. And once again, the boys, they're technically #1 point standings because Cloud9 has already qualified. Their points are sort of irrelevant overall for the North American teams. So the boys can't afford to lose this early on when their main competition, Method Orange, is in the upper bracket and looking pretty good to potentially take the whole tournament. So Method Orange could pass the boys in points in the summer season if they don't have a good performance here in the first Summer Cup. Thugonomics low on health on match points. Let's see if Gurecki cracks under the pressure. Nope, recovering quite effectively.
Yeah, quite easily. Thugonomics gets topped off, and these Destruction Warlocks paired with the Restoration Druids are just really durable targets. It's going to take a little bit more than that amount of damage to take him down, although he gets taken down to around 50% health, 60% health. The Restoration Druid just has so much single target healing, you can easily top him off. They need the crowd control if they really want to take him down. Thugonomics getting feared up, good control from Channel. Wealthy Man now the main target of choice. Chun-Li putting out lots of pressure. Cubsy moves forward, gets the bash actually onto Thugonomics, denying a lot of that incoming damage. Chun-Li finally back on target onto Wealthy Man. Can they force out the first ice block? Counter Chaos Bolts coming in from Channel. Both teams putting out massive pressure. If we look at mana, Cubsy and Cloud9, they are a little bit behind, but Cubsy hasn't had the most difficult time so far in these matchups, really recovering his mana. Maybe on this smaller map, as long as Gurecki is paying attention, they can try to deny that drink and develop a mana lead.
It could be one way for them to develop a mana lead, most certainly. But, I mean, it should be so simple on the small map to stop Cubsy from drinking. I really don't think he should ever get one, although he is right now. Gurecki's trying to stop him, jumping across the battlefield, looking to find him. I don't think that he did, though. Cubsy's in the kitty corner, and I believe got full mana. Well done on Cloud9's part. So long as Wealthy Man doesn't need to block, that gives them an advantage.
Yeah, Wealthy Man in a good position right now, avoiding a lot of damage. Paralysis over on the Cubsy. Chun-Li looking to get aggressive, but they just can't find the damage. Chanimal always there to back him up with the Fear Spam. Leg Sweep comes in. Chanimal with the Counter Fear. Finally, a little bit of damage rolling on a Wealthy Man. Gets the Fist of Fury out. Thugonomics lands the Shadow Fury as well, just trying to get in position, but One strategy adaptation I'm seeing out of Cloud9 is they're limiting Thugonomic's damage way more. When we saw in game number 2, he was just posted up at a pillar, able to get out significant amounts of Chaos Bolts, of Fears, but so far in this matchup, it's been a little bit of a different story. Wealthy Man has just been kind of snaring him up, moving out of line of sight. When he finally is in line of sight, he gets Mortal Coil, he gets Spell Lock, and I think that damage denial on Thugonomics is a key strategy change we're seeing out of Cloud9.
Yeah, it is a key strategy indeed. Dampening has now just started between the teams and will inevitably close the match out as it reduces incoming healing on all members in the match, certainly to a point where it could reach 100%. The way that this game is going, we may have a dampening record broken unless one of the teams decides to go for an aggressive push soon. Cloud9 still, though, are on match points, so it's up to the boys to be able to pull off a victory. There's much more pressure against them at the moment, and because they weren't able to stop Cubsy from drinking, they're at a disadvantage. They try and set up a swap. They try and set up the miracle kill on the Cubsy, but he is able to wild charge to Wealthy Man, who saves him with a polymorph on Chun-Li. Once again, great support on the side of Cloud9.
Yeah. Good support. Cubsy in a good position to also get away and try to recover some of his mana. Rake stun now onto Chanimal. He's actually overextended quite a bit. Drops out the Infernal. He wants to get counter pressure. This is an intelligent decision. So Chanimal, he drops out his Infernals when he's under fire, but he's still low. There's great pressure coming in from Chun-Li and Thugonomics. Cubsy may have sat down for too much of a drink. Ultimately does recover all of his mana. If he can recover Chanimal, obviously it's going to be worth it, and he does manage to do so. That was a risky play, but pays off for Cloud9. That 9% dampening, this is where you want to start having full mana as the game goes on. It's much more difficult to sit down for a drink as you have to spend a lot more time healing up your teammates. Double Mortal Coil coming in from Chanimal onto Chun-Li and Gorecki. Good counter pressure right now. Chun-Li does manage to shrug a lot of that off with the Fortifying Brew. His portal's in a good position too. That Transcendence location. At any time, you can use Transcendence to portal away to safety of those boxes. Gorecki now getting stunned up. Big all-in attempt here from the team of Cloud9, but unfortunately, Wealthy Man and Chanimal weren't there to really follow up the damage. The Ring of Peace keeping Wealthy Man locked down into the fight. Thugonomics teeing off with the Chaos Bolt. Wealthy Man getting a little bit low, but he still has both of his ice blocks, and Wealthy Man has been able to hold on to these crucial defensive cooldowns consistently throughout this game. If we look at mana, Gorecki still doing a great job at around 80% mana. Cubsy falling even more behind, even though he was able to recover so much of his mana through that drink just a short while ago. There's been so much significant pressure from the boys that they've been really taxing his mana.
Although I think that it's mostly due to the Mortal Strike effect that the Windwalker Monk brings into the arena that Cloud9 don't have at their disposal. Cloud9, of course, bringing a lot more crowd control to their advantage, so perhaps if they can isolate a target long enough, they could find victory. Chanimal in trouble. The boys looking to take this to game 5. Chun-Li going for the kill. He knocks Chanimal off the side. Cubsy gets crowd control. Chun-Li single-handedly making the push. Can he finally get the kill onto Chanimal, now at 18% dampening, stunning 2 targets. Big positioning mistake by Cloud9, but Wealthy Man again trying to take control of Chun-Li. The polymorphs are going to be more than enough. He stabilizes. Thugonomics now being targeted down. It's Gorecki who needs to look to recover, although looks to be easily doing so as both teams are playing in the efflorescences of each other's druids. A lot of effective healing from that with the Spring Blossoms talent. Mana actually in favor of Cubsy, so I mean, there's actually a good chance that Cloud9 can just close this out soon if the boys don't do something.
Yeah, Thugonomics repositioning behind the pillar. Gorecki going for a drink. What is Chanimal going to be able to get done? Wealthy Man caught in some damage here. Decent counter pressure coming in from Chanimal. He's trying to back up Wealthy Man in the situation. Gorecki moving forward, finally landing some heals. Big Chaos Bolt on Chun-Li. It's a bit of a scary moment. Fortifying Brew gets traded out, overlapped with the Iron Bark, and both of those damage reductions together are going to make Chun-Li just such a tank in this matchup. But once those fade, we're not going to have those crucial defensives. Chun-Li going to be a little bit vulnerable here. Thugonomics repositioning to a good spot, trying to get some damage rolling on Chanimal. Chanimal trying to reposition even further away. Does manage to do so. Chun-Li gets Vortex back, has to activate the Diffuse Magic. Gorecki uses a lot of mana to top him off as well, but now the boys can finally start getting some pressure rolling.
Now the boys can look to push for victory and take this to a game number 5 and keep their tournament lives here. They face elimination, but pressure is actually snowballing a bit in favor of Cloud9. 3 members softened up, and Cloud9 could go after any of them at this point. Infernal's just ready and waiting. perhaps the end of the game, perhaps the last set of Infernals. Both Chaos Bolts being casted onto both Chun-Li and Wealthy Man. Chun-Li deciding to switch targets to Chanimal, pull away from the fight, but the more they pull away and stack up, the more damage all three members will take. This is a critical error to stack up on match point, and Chanimal is shutting it down. Big punish from Chanimal. He looks to close. Grecki gets bashed up. Thugonomics looks to reverse, but his team is under so much pressure. Chun-Li is trying to sneak a kill in despite his team being basically dead. Can Chun-Li sneak the kill on Chanimal before Thugonomics falls? Chanimal recovers. Both teams recover in this position. Close call.
That was a panic moment for Wealthy Man. Thugonomics was so low on hit points, but Thugonomics just counter-pressured beautifully with his Infernals, with his Dark Soul, was going to eventually take down Chanimal with those Chaos Bolts. Wealthy Man had basically had no choice but to spam out Polymorphs. It would have been way too risky. And now Wealthy Man, he's actually traded out the Ice Block. Things are looking better and better for the boys. Cloud9, of course, does have a little bit of a mana lead. Thugonomics has really no defensive cooldowns left. Neither does Chun-Li while he has the Diffuse Magic. So Chun-Li is actually doing quite well, but Thugonomics a vulnerable target with no enemy resolve for quite some time and 34% dampening. This is when we're going to see Cloud9 really start focusing on just interrupting Thugonomics, making him a vulnerable target, keeping the snares up on him, and just basically he's going to be a sitting duck that Wealthy Man and Chanimal can tee off on.
Yeah, he definitely will be. And at this point, I mean, you've got still one more Ice Block, you've got full mana. If you're Cloud9, you're actually pretty comfortable here on match point in this situation, which I was expecting to be one-sided in favor of the boys. So this is definitely a commanding position, now reaching 40% dampening. And once again, stacking up for Chanimal to punish. Chanimal taking advantage of this poor positioning time and time again, softening 3 targets up, potentially for a big push. Thugonomics is taking the brunt of it. He's still choosing to just stand out in the open. Needs to be careful. Might want to look to line of sight. Trying to toss out some Chaos Bolts and kill Chanimal. Sneak in a kill. Ooh. Maybe they can get it here. They use Iron Bark to stabilize. Wealthy Man is soloing Thugonomics. Grecki struggling.
Yeah, keep in mind, Thugonomics is actually using the Honor Talent to empower his Chaos, but when it does land, it drops a little green pool on the ground. That is a massive healing reduction effect. I think it's a 50% reduced healing, so you have to be very careful. If Chun-Li can keep someone locked down with that, it's going to be massive healing reduction, but Thugonomics is the one that's in trouble. Double Mortal Coil comes in. Thugonomics with no defense left. Grecki does manage to get the Iron Bark, but it's not enough. Cloud9 takes down the boys 3-1. Fortunately for the chat goes in favor of the move in this matchup. I think that's is that the most one-sided we've ever seen?
Have we ever seen a single digit?
Maybe Absol's just confused, because I think Shaman's a pink right these days.
I really hope that they're running the same strategy. It's one thing to just steal the composition, but if you don't know the strategy, most importantly, Repentance on the Paladin and Mind Bomb on the Shadow Priest. These are the talents that were being run by Valet and Mimpoike from the team Change My Mind in Europe. So if those aren't selected for the team of the move, I think that's what actually makes them beat, especially the Mistweaver variant of a melee cleave. They need to be able to deny Way of the Crane. So there's Mind Bomb. WizK is running that talent. They need to continue the chain off the Mind Bomb. They don't manage to do so. Zach has managed to portal to safety. Peekaboo actually shadow steps behind the Fists of Fury Turbo Fist Honor talent to stun him, forcing Kolo's hand. Life Cocoon trades, but it may not be enough for the vendetta pressure that Peekaboo is dealing out. Zach reconnects onto WizK along with Valido. Curious to see when they engage with the Death Grip, if they're going to pull Absterge into the fight whatsoever. Absterge holding out, needs to try and use Repentance during Way of the Crane. If they can prevent Way of the Crane, then easily the move can find victory. Zach under pressure once again. Absterge moves in. Let's see, is he playing Repentance? He goes for the Hammer of Justice. They go for the Mind Bomb. No Repentance. There's Repentance being casted, but interrupted by Valido, so they use Silence instead. Zach has had solid positioning. They used a Blessing of Protection on the Touch of Karma, and Zach instantly evacuated, so it may have not been necessary. Zach stunned up again for another assault, but grapple weaponed onto Peekaboo means that he can't really attack. Finally, a Death Grip onto Absterge, pulling the entire team together for a big assault here. Leg sweep into leg sweep. They're going all in for a push onto WizK. WizK uses Greater Fade to immune some pressure on that attack. Absterge recovers likely with Avenging Wrath, although still crowd controlled and may have to disperse as well. That would be devastating. He does. 2 cooldowns in 1 push. Solid advance by Never Lucky.
That was honestly a giant waste of the Blessing of Protection. Zach was completely fine. He pre-ran away. Peekaboo was not in pursuit. WizK wasn't in a position either. They just kind of threw out the Blessing of Protection. as just like a default trade, but it just wasn't ideal. Now they don't have it available later on in the game if Touch of Karma does roll up. Zach though in a little bit of trouble. Diffuse Magic's already been used. Sap onto Colo. Hammer of Justice on the trinket. Colo with a nice life cocoon, keeping Zach alive, but Zach is really vulnerable. You can take a look. He doesn't have a single defensive cooldown left. They can take him down. Zach has to hold on just another 10 seconds, but there's just great pressure here in favor of the move. But if Zach can hold on, feel that Touch of Karma, there's no Blessing of Protection for the next push. And I think Never Lucky will be able to survive.
Yeah, and if they do, they've got a pretty big mana lead. I do see a smoke bomb available, and Zach has no trinket, so potentially Peekaboo pulls that out of his back pocket, takes game one as a result. I do think that the Paladin Rogue Priest is favored in this matchup, but if you throw away that advantage, the Blessing of Protection, and don't get a kill with it, then perhaps you do fall too far behind to find victory. Blind attempt here, big push from the move to close out game number one. How is Zach going to respond to the pressure? Well, Touch of Karma and Transcendence away from the fight is a pretty good option, but Colo is still currently crowd controlled. Furthermore, into a Repentance anymore, and this may be enough to take down Zach. Doesn't look like they have any. Colo now stabilizing the team and recovering. I would like to see Colo use the Way of the Crane when he's on crowd control, diminishing returns, make a push. Nice grip into triple stuns. These are high value plays from Never Lucky. They still keep themselves in the match as a result of these death grips from Valido. They get the dispersion from WizK, which is an important objective. They get further pressure to run Absurge out of mana. They actually switch some of their attention to Absurge, trying to pressure him maybe away from a Repentance. Absurge looks for it, doesn't get it just yet. Ring of Peace interrupts it. They stall it out, and Colo can avoid the crowd control. It's all about protecting Colo from crowd control and stabilizing long enough to pressure down Absurge's mana bar.
Yeah, but Zach, he has his trinket rotating back up. He has the Fortifying Brew. He has the Diffuse Magic. A lot of tools available at his disposal. And don't forget, when Change My Mind went up against Never Lucky, it was a very close series. Never Lucky certainly has had time to go back, analyze those games, and make some adjustments, and they've been doing a really good job defensively. The move is running out of time. Absurge, he just uses Divine Shield. There's no Blessing of Protection. WizK, no Dispersion. If Never Lucky can keep up this pressure, they can certainly close out the game. They just have to hold on a little bit longer. Anti-Magic Zone trades out on this attempt. Zach's going to be able to survive, spamming out Vivifies on himself. Colo into a full sap. He has the trinket, he has the cocoon, but Zach just preemptively runs away. And now Valido is the only vulnerable target. WizK and Peekaboo, they have to try to make something happen right here, right now. But Valido, he has so many of his defensives left. Deathstrike just going to heal through so much of this damage, and he will keep himself alive. Now entering Dampening a little bit later on, does Death Knight become a more vulnerable target?
Yeah, Dampening has just stepped foot, but they make a swap to Peekaboo. He's got no Glaire's Medallion. He barely survives the Stunlock combo. Both him and WizK in a lot of trouble. Absurge has a lot of work ahead of him, and I'm wondering what his Beacon of Light usage is. If you heal a target with Beacon of Light, you get refunded on some of your mana, and I don't think that he should be this far behind overall in the matchup on the Paladin, so perhaps some mismanagements on the Beacon of Light healing output. He needs to find a drink. I mean, this game could go on for some time now at this point. Touch of Karma exchange, but overlapped, but they don't seem to care. They're making a big push. They still have Peekaboo and WizK under pressure. Absurge's healing cooldowns have subsided. It's going to be increasingly difficult for him to recover.
Yeah, Colo moves forward with the Way of the Crane, but maybe he overstayed his welcome. He's got no trinket. He's in a Hammer of Justice. And is there any follow-up? There's a full blind. Zach's in a lot of trouble. He manages to, with a beautiful Transcendence, to escape, but for how long? Peekaboo in hot pursuit. Ring of Peace gets mismanaged there by Zach, but he runs through it, and Peekaboo gets left all behind. Full Repentance, but Zach just keeping himself alive. Good Asphyxiate, good backup by Valido, and I think Never Lucky's bought enough time. Colo should be able to get back to Zach, and now the Never Lucky can move forward and put some pressure on the move, who's running out of mana and running out of time.
Yeah, Zach, the young blood of the tournament scene, just 16 years old, able to avoid a lot of attacks and predict the move, predict every move from the move, and stay alive throughout this match long enough to run Absurge out of mana. So as a result of his good defensive positioning, they're looking to take game number one. Void Shift available, but relying on Blessing and Protection for now. It's a bit of a risky move. He's so low on health. Manages to recover without overcommitting, but still falling behind on pressure. There's not really any openings. Now they cannot use Blessing and Protection on Touch of Karma. What do you really do? Dampening isn't high enough to kill the Death Knight, and Zach's on top of his defensive play, avoiding the fight time and time again. He uses Touch of Karma to 1v1 Peekaboo around the corner. Zach then pulls back into center field to go after WizK, the primary pressure point, and with 2 targets low on health and no mana. What do you do with as Absterge in this position? You want to activate Avenging Wrath as soon as possible, but I don't think he has the mana to do it. Gladiator's Maledicts are incoming towards WizK. He fades the second one, immuning its effect and allowing Absterge a little bit more time to breathe, but then Absterge gets interrupted. The third and potentially final Gladiator's Maledict could close this out. He void shifts to Absterge, but all 3 members of the team are simply just dying at this point.
Yeah, it is a lot of damage coming in from Never Lucky. 16% dampening. Absterge completely tapped on mana. Vendetta play. They're trying to get aggressive over onto Zach, but I don't think they have enough time. Double leg sweep comes in from Zach. Peekaboo trinkets out. He wants to keep up with the pressure, but WizK, he might could just fall right here, right now. Absterge throws out Blessing of Sacrifice. Colo in a full repentance. Is Valido really going to fall at this point in the game? I just think it's so unlikely as so many of defensive cooldowns. Vampiric Embrace trying to be enough to help out Absterge to keep his team alive. WizK doing a good job dealing out a lot of damage. Colo with the Way of the Crane wants to put the final nail in the coffin onto WizK, and I think they have the damage to do so. Never Lucky claimed game number 1.
Yeah, well played by Never Lucky. And
little things like that. I feel like Windwalker Monk is one of those classes, if they use their utility, if they use their defensives and their mobility well, it is really difficult to take them down. So the move, they have to be on point, using the Blessing of Protection, overwhelming with damage, beautiful crowd control change, so they can get that done and they can take down Zach. But I don't think they need to rush it. They just need to have an opportunity where Absterge can push in and start getting that crowd control onto Zach and sort of force out some of those mistakes.
All right, let's see if Absterge can carry the team here. We don't see him very often switch off the Shaman, so he's going maybe into some awkward territory on that Paladin class, but I think it's necessary. Peekaboo is going to start things off for us with Blind on Colo into Sap and go after Valido initially, but then switch to Zach, and Zach again just saw that switch immediately, activated Fortifying Brew before it happened and negated that first assault. Although it was Fortifying Brew for not very many cooldowns, Peekaboo still has Vendetta, so he could push for a kill there. I do like that they've got damage into 2 places. It's making it a bit difficult for Colo, although now Zach is pushing aggressively to kill WizK. Big touch of death hit incoming, needs to be careful. Dispersion soaks up the hit, but multiple Gladiator's Maledicts absorb the healing of that Dispersion. He's still very low on health. If Zach can just stay on target, they can pull even more cooldowns. They get the Blessing of Sacrifice.
Goodness.
They get the Avenging Wrath. Right now things are snowballing out of control for the move, and they face elimination.
Look at Absterge. He's a ping pong. He's just getting bounced around the wall with both of those Ring of Peace. Very nicely done there by Zach and Colo. Excellently done denying Absterge on those heals. WizK still in a lot of trouble. He's got the Void Shift. Is he going to be able to get it off? But it's Zach that's in trouble. Now we need to see the Blessing of Protection. Is it available? I don't think it is. That would have been the perfect opportunity. Zach really just not running away. He gets full value out of that Touch of Karma. Ultimately will survive. Zach all over Absterge in this situation. Colo backs him up. Valido putting decent damage onto WizK. Absterge actually gets interrupted. This could be the Void Shift, but WizK really not going to get solid value out of that if you have to use it on Absterge. Finally buys enough time to get the Divine Shield, but the move, they are running out of options.
Zach runs away, Peekaboo switches to Valido. Valido anticipates the switch, activates Anti-Magic Zone. This purple shield protecting Valido. Now they stack up. Zach lands a double stun. It's looking better and better for Never Lucky in this position. The move need to scramble something together. They are known for making miracles. Can they do it here in the lower bracket as they face elimination? They desperately want to earn some points. They most certainly need to qualify to the summer finals because they are so far behind in points in general on the standings. I don't think they can even reliably take that as a route to qualify. So winning the summer finals is basically their only hope. If they lose this early on in the summer season in the first cup, they're going to lose a pretty significant chance to qualify to that event. So if you are a fan of the move, they most certainly need your energy now.
Yeah, now more than ever. Never Lucky up 1-0 in the series. This game is looking more and more in their favor. There is an opportunity here. Colo with no trinket, but WizK needs to hold on just a little bit longer. Dispersion gets traded out. He's trying to run for his life. Does manage to create some space. Absterge does manage to find a big heal. And Zach and Colo, they've replaced their portals in a very defensive position. They know that they can just hold on to this game the way it's going. Colo gets caught in repentance. Zach just immediately, instantaneously, Transcendence out of line of sight. There is no damage, and now you just have Valido on that Death Knight. He's essentially a tank. He has so much self-healing that it's very unlikely they can take him down with this composition this early on in the game. So I like that. Zach can just run away at any moment. Valido can tank out the damage, keep generating pressure. WizK still in a lot of trouble. Absterge trying to hold on. Great Afraid comes in from WizK. Double Mind Bomb comes in. Into Kitty Shot onto Zach. There's going to be the Touch of Karma, but immediately runs. Zach has really learned his lesson. You use the Touch of Karma, you preemptively, you know Blessing of Protection is going to come, so you have to run away. Touch of Karma just buys you a split second during those moments of crowd control, but you can't rely on it. And that's the mistake a lot of Windwalkers make. Zach not making that mistake. And now, once again, Never Lucky, they're able to generate huge momentum off the fact that the move just can't get anything done.
Colo anticipated the swap on himself, Fortifying Brew during that stun lock, so he's not taking nearly as much damage as if he did not anticipate that attack. Never Lucky are just inside the heads of the move. Perhaps they're just a little bit too shaky on this composition. Perhaps not enough practice, so if Never Lucky continue predicting their attacks, they're just going to fall behind on mana, fall behind on cooldowns, and fall behind on momentum. It is not looking good for them. They're desperate. They try to get a kill here onto Zach with Smoke Bomb, line of sighting the heels of Colo, but Zach immediately retreats away. Colo moves in, but gets mind bombed on his way of the Crane. Denied totally by the Repentance. Good denial here from the move, showing signs of life.
Yeah, but Zach out of line of sight, just healing himself up. They can't get anything done. Valido once again just soaking up all of this damage. Another swap over on Colo. He might have been a little bit overzealous there. He does have his Trinket and Transcendence to survive, but Colo's mana is not looking great. The move has been doing a good job with consistent pressure in this matchup. Colo Trinket's out. Zach could still be in some trouble. He's trying to run away. Finally, the move starting to generate some momentum in this matchup, but Peekaboo's on a solo mission right now against Zach and Colo behind the pillar. Unfortunately, not able to get anything done, and Zach's actually just going to activate Storm, Earth, and Fire. He wants to counter pressure Peekaboo the best he can. Peekaboo putting some damage over onto Colo, starting to hit multiple pressure points. As you can see, Never Lucky falling a little bit behind.
Yeah, softening him up, as Zico said in the pre-game. Perhaps they can make it through and get a kill with this pressure that they've created. Dampening just starting. Mana for Absterge, though, significantly in favor, but he needs to survive the stun lock. Peekaboo needs one more second. Blessing of Sacrifice, but I don't believe that it's ultimate, so Peekaboo could still take some pressure. Repentance on the way of the Crane. Perfect timing from Absterge. That removes the damage and healing from its effect on Colo. Then they stun Colo and make a swap. These are the kind of surprise attacks that we expect from the move. Perhaps it could be enough to take Colo down. He's holding on for now. Whiskey's actually in trouble. Has to use Fade, but Fade has now faded. He's no longer gaining its benefit. Has to disperse. Multiple cooldowns. Colo is still not too healthy. Peekaboo's on the hunt for his life and to put a point on the board to tie this series up. Whiskey is trying to reposition to support, but having a very difficult time with the Death Knight and a Windwalker hammering away. Dampening continues to rise. Colo stunned. Valido's crowd controlled. Whiskey gets Blessing of Freedom. He's moving in to try and get the goal onto Colo. Can he stay in line of sight is the question. Doesn't look like it. Perhaps if they can maintain mana into Dampening, they can kill Valido. They have a significant mana advantage at this point. The move are looking a lot better in game 2.
Yeah, Absterge sitting down for that drink. Peekaboo, WizK setting him up. That was a huge moment in the game. Absterge has a massive lead now. What is Colo going to be able to do? Full kidney shot onto Zach. Do they have the damage to take him down? There it is. Touch of Karma. Is there a Blessing of Protection available? It doesn't look like it. Zach still in the face of WizK. WizK doesn't really have too much to stay alive. He uses the Greater Fade. Absterge needs to find some healing. We're at 12% dampening, but the damage from Zach and Valido might just be overwhelming. Peekaboo gets disarmed. WizK could easily fall, and that was such a good-looking game for the move. I really thought they had it after that drink, but the Divine Shield coming out a little bit too late. Absterge just didn't have the throughput to heal through the Windwalker Death Knight.
During spring, are one game away from securing potentially the final game of the day.
All right, you don't want to go anywhere. Your crowd favorites the move. You guys bet 91%. 91% of you are about to be wrong. That's a lot of you wrong. And then the other 9%, they're smirking at this point because Never Lucky are playing basically perfectly at this point in the matchup, and the move are looking a bit rusty or maybe inexperienced. They're going to get aggressive, though, on Colo. This is a bold statement considering their on-match point, but they are trying to get aggressive after the healer and put some pressure there. They're getting denied so far in the initial assaults. We see a blind on Colo at low health. Could be an opportunity for Peekaboo to make a move if he can get a sap. He saps Colo. He sets him up for WizK to get in position to deal some damage. They've got both DPS and a Mind Bomb. This is clean setup by the move on a Colo. They don't have a silence. Oh, they go for the Vanish. They go all in. Maybe they can get a kill here. Colo's in a lot of trouble. Gliders mouth. They get it. Peekaboo sets it up. Peekaboo hard carries and keeps the move alive in the tournament.
Peekaboo, you legend.
That was so greedy from... Oh, maybe not listening. Maybe just had a revelation himself. He's going to be switching up his talents, and I think it will definitely help him out in this matchup. And it's kind of weird for me because it seems like the move, they've been favoring the bigger maps, and Never Lucky, they've been favoring the smaller maps for whatever reason. But theoretically, you'd think Zach would have a much easier time running away on the bigger maps as he is that main pressure point. I think the biggest thing is Absurge is going to have a much more difficult time drinking on the small map, and maybe Never Lucky feels like they can actually win this game on mana, but it is going to be sort of a healer race right now. Valido, Zach, they're going to be trying to take down Absurge here. Peekaboo coming back, trying to defend his Holy Paladin. WizKay getting out a lot of damage as well. Cole is going to be very susceptible to crowd control in this situation. Can they keep Absurge alive?
He has committed a lot of defensive cooldowns. Plus your protection, Avenger Wrath, and Holy Avenger all at the same time. With Aura Mastery, it's pretty big overlap. They do remove the Touch of Karma, but they didn't even get any pressure on Zach. He's still on target. Now Absurge is on Forbearance and can't use Divine Shield for some time. Touch of Death has been popped. That's going to be really difficult to heal through. WizKay has to use Void Shift, and now Never Lucky are doing a healer race. Who's going to fall first? Colo in the anti-magic zone, but Mind Controlled at low health. They remove it. Way of the Crane, he needs a couple of punches to heal back up, but Way of the Crane's now over. He has to use Life Cocoon. Both healers under so much stress. Peekaboo Shadow stepping in through the Ring of Peace to interrupt Colo. Colo runs back to the boxes. WizKay's trying to dot up Valido and Zach, but they simply can't be counter-pressured away. They're still right on top of Absurge. He needs that Divine Favor heal. He needs it right now, but he's not going for it. Divine Shield instead, now blowing through all of his significant defensive cooldowns. Valido getting Repentance. Peekaboo, he has to carry. He has to kill Colo almost all by himself at this point. They're just so far behind.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game. Valido all over WizKay right now, trying to get some pressure rolling, wants to get back onto Absurge, who really doesn't have too many cooldowns left. Now into a full leg sweep on 50% mana. Colo positioned very far away. Needs to try to keep Zach alive. Paralysis on WizKay, denying some of his damage and utility. Zach pre-portals away. He's got 10 seconds left on the Touch of Karma. If he can just hold on a little bit longer, Zach can make a very effective all-in push with that Touch of Karma. 3, 2, 1 now available, so Zach's going to be feeling very healthy with his trinket. I don't think Absurge has a Blessing of Protection to really deal with that. And now Absurge is kind of a sitting duck.
Big damage. Death Grip on the Life Grip. Perfect timing by Valido. All three members of Never Lucky collide. Zach gets Life Cocooned. All they have to do is stay on target for 10 more seconds. Can Absurge hold on for 10 more seconds? He needs to make it to that Avenging Wrath. 7 more seconds. Blessing of Freedom. He needs to jump off the side, likely here soon. He's managed to do it. 2 more seconds. He's going to have Avenging Wrath. That's a big healing cooldown. It's going to allow him to heal through basically any amount of damage in the game. Valido in a bit of trouble. This is very surprising. Wow! I actually can't believe it. If Valido ends up going down before dampening, Colo Trinket's blind, gets silenced. Way of the Crane is now faded. Valido is still vulnerable. Peekaboo's trying to carry. He's going to do it. He takes Valido out. The move, take it to game 5.
That's the move, baby. Absurge, Peekaboo.
Hey, the move with the reverse sweep potentially here on game number 5. No matter what, this is the last game of the day. Can Absurge pull out his Paladin and be clutch for the move to pull off a victory against Never Lucky, stay alive in the tournament, and keep their dreams of making it to BlizzCon again here in 2019 alive? Colo initially on, trading Gladiator's Medallion and Life Cocoon to sustain Zach's life, but overlapped with Diffused Magic. You can definitely tell that Never Lucky are shaky here on match point.
Yeah, Never Lucky. What are they going to do? Good pressure on WizKay very early on with a stun over onto Absurge. Colo's already traded out his trinket, now into a kidney shot. Pre-fortifying brew. Nicely done by Colo. Anti-magic zone gets traded out as well. And you could tell the move, they are very comfortable going after Colo in this matchup. He's silenced up. What is Colo going to do? Does manage to survive. Way of the Crane gets popped out, but I mean, at what cost? Look at Colo. He's in a full repentance. He's already used basically every single cooldown he has. The next kidney shot could be devastating on him.
Yeah, definitely could, but WizKay at the same time.
Oh, wonder!
Huge mistakes made here. Can they pull it back together in time to recover? Touch of Death now available and accessed. Curious to see if WizKay just gets blown up by this push. Interrupted on Shadow for 1 more second. Sacrifice from Absurge, redirecting some damage with Avenging Wrath. Absurge should be pretty comfortable in this position. Now we see crowd control engaged. They're going for Colo's throat in game 5. Just want to clean this up, take it out of the park, and advance in the lower bracket. Protected by Ring of Peace. Peekaboo's making his way around it, but Chains of Ice is making it very difficult. Colo manages to no Shadow Step kick. Well done by Peekaboo. If WizKay can get over there and support, looks like WizKay is 1v1ing Zach in the midfield. Peekaboo's pressuring Colo, and this is kind of that split strategy that Zico was talking about earlier. They soften up 2 targets, and then they engage crowd control and go after the weaker one. Right now they're gunning down Zach. Nice Life Cocoon before the smoke bomb. Good read on Colo's part. Ring of Peace denies the connect as well. Colo's getting ready. Peekaboo's moving over. No Gladiator's Medallion for 13 more seconds. They incapacitate Peekaboo. He can't support WizK. Absurge is having a rough time.
Yeah, WizK getting a little bit low. What is he going to do? He uses the Greater Fade, buying Absurge just a little bit of time. But if we look at mana, Neverlucky's way ahead. They just have to make sure they can hold on a little bit longer. Colo gets double stunned up into a silence. He's trying to roll away. Peekaboo's all over him. Zach playing defense. There's the full blind on Colo. He is not greeting it this time. Immediate snap. Trinket wants to top himself off. He's still got the Fortifying Brew. He has the Way of the Crane as well. But this next stun on Colo by Peekaboo, if it gets paired up with a Hammer of Justice and WizK can get there, it could be really scary.
All right, Zach is definitely the target here. No Glaird's Medallion. Actually, Colo as well could be a target. Peekaboo wants him. WizK gets gripped out of line of sight by Valido, so it's just Peekaboo. WizK wants to make his way over. He wants to support, end the game, close the match, and take this series for the move in the lower bracket. All of these Cleaves, these Death Knights, these Windwalkers, these Demon Hunters have been a thorn in the side for the move. They haven't been able to figure out a way to take them down, but Change My Mind in the spring final showed that the Shadow Priest Rogue can be more than effective. Now, adapting their strategies, bringing in the Paladin, and potentially some hope, some light at the end of the tunnel to be able to find victory against all of these melee Cleaves and advance in the lower bracket. They've got momentum right now if they can hold on a bit longer. Peekaboo, the playmaker, sitting on top of Colo. Zach comes back to support with Ring of Peace, allowing Colo to stabilize. Good teamwork on both sides.
Yeah, Colo had a really nice heads-up play. Was able to get the Ring of Peace down right before Kidney Shot on himself just 20 seconds ago. So that's one of the things that allowed him to hold on to some of these cooldowns and ultimately survive. Peekaboo now turning his attention over onto Zach. Absurge low on mana. Is he ever going to be able to get away for a drink? I think it's really unlikely. Good job here by Zach, by Valido, getting lots of damage rolling onto WizK, using the Greater Fade. Absurge trying to play catch-up, spamming out some Holy Lights, but this damage, this pressure from Neverlucky is quite significant.
All right, Neverlucky, can you overwhelm the move and take it and clean this up? Take the victory that they should have probably gotten 2 games ago, but the move making miracles. Colo's currently crowd controlled and Zach is on the run. Peekaboo can't connect. Zach is denying it. Well done. Good avoidance on his part. With Valido's getting mind controlled. Absurge is moving away to drink. Zach sees Absurge moving and rolls over immediately to deny that. They know that mana is one way to victory. They need to make sure they keep Absurge from drinking. The map was selected smartly and correctly in that regard from Neverlucky, although we think they could have played other compositions. It's obvious that this one is the one they have most practiced on. They've definitely got the advantage in this position if they can keep the pressure up. Peekaboo can't connect. Ring of Peace prevents him. He swings around the other side. Chases down Zach. Absurge snuck in a Repentance onto Colo. Do they have any crowd control out of it? Doesn't look like it. Colo reconvenes. But Peekaboo uses Colo as a Shadow Step icon to get back to Zach. That was some clutch timing there on Peekaboo's part. Zach is still low as a result.
Nice silence.
Colo is silenced. They need to crowd control the Way of the Crane. They need to crowd control Colo right now. They don't have it. He's able to get some big punches onto WizK, top off Zach, and add a lot of pressure. Absurge is trying to drink, but Ring of Peace is going to pin him. He can't. WizK is very low on health, relying on Vampiric Embrace and Blessing of Protection to stay alive. Absurge certainly has the cooldowns to keep the game going, but does he have enough gas in the tank?
Colo uses the Revival, that precious 3-minute cooldown to keep Zach alive during that smoke bomb. Vendetta's rolling. Zach could be in a little bit of trouble still. Anti-Magic Zone gets traded out by Valido. They want to stay ahead in the matchup. They realize Absurge, he's almost out of time. WizK, not many defensive cooldowns really left to work with, but the Mind Bomb stun onto Colo into a full Repentance. Zach is left all alone. He gets the Touch of Karma off. Is there a Blessing of Protection? Doesn't look like it's available, so Zach should be able to hold on just a little bit longer. Full leg sweep on Peekaboo. Zach still on the run, but the move have forced Neverlucky into a very defensive position.
Man, you don't normally want to be playing defense as Windwalker DK. You want to be playing Zug Zug. You want to be running the enemy team down. Can they close this out? It's match point. Dampening is kicked in. Both teams are totally out of mana. The cooldowns are sparse at this point for both sides. Anybody could take it. I actually can't believe it. Can the move get the reverse sweep 3 in a row against a melee Cleave that has just been beating them down, beating them so brutally the entire year? Perhaps they can, but this is it. It's their last chance. It's the last game of the day. Absurge is now almost completely tapped, but Colo equally so. Nobody's going to be able to drink on hook point. This one's going to be ending soon, Ven.
Uh-oh, Kidney Shot onto Zach. What is he going to do? Hammer of Justice over onto Colo. Zach uses the Diffuse Magic and the Fortifying Brew. Portals away just a few centimeters. Does manage to get out of line of sight, repositioning his portal. He should be fine. Now WizK is the one under fire. No Dispersion, no Fade. The last line of defense is going to be that Void Shift if he really needs it. Colo is still in crowd control. Keep in mind he has no Trinket, and Zach needs another 13 seconds left on that Touch of Karma. Can they take him down before 9 short seconds? I don't think so. Zach does manage to hold on. He manages to escape. He's got the Trinket almost coming up. He's got the Touch of Karma, and that's going to be the tools he needs in order to survive. Colo buys him a little bit of time with the Life Cocoon, but now Colo's out of mana. Both these healers running on fumes.
Oh, Void Shift likely necessary here. He Void Shifts to Absterge. Maybe they switch to Absterge. He catches the Divine Favors, tops himself up. He's got no mana. Vendetta's rolling, but Touch of Karma's redirecting its damage to WizK. WizK is taking huge hits, and Absterge has no mana to keep him alive. Nothing's left. It's do or die for the move at this point. They've got 2 members crowd controlled. They try to kill Zach, but he portals away. Valido doing all of the heavy lifting. Colo is still crowd controlled. Peekaboo has to kill Zach before Valido kills WizK. Zach kites across the entire universe. Reconnects onto WizK with the Gladiator's Maledict. He's
oh
solo
my
on health.
goodness!
It could be a cross kill. We could be going down to a 2 versus 2. Colo is still crowd controlled, but Absterge has nothing left. Zach is doing everything he can.
No way!
He kicked him!
Absterge gets stunned up. Zach is on the run, but should he be running? There's no mana left for Colo to recover. I think the move have done it. They've got Avenging Wrath. They just need 2 Holy Lights, and his team's going to go to full health. Just 2 Holy Lights. Absterge is waiting for mana, just sitting AFK, hoping to regenerate to be able to top him off, but he's not getting the mana. He's not getting the heals. Touch of Death goes off. WizK is still in trouble. Never Lucky. They've stabilized. They've made it through, and I think WizK is done.
The move cannot believe it right now. Zach holds on. Incapacitate over onto Absterge. That paralysis from the Windwalker Monk. Silence onto Colo. Zach's getting low, but WizK ultimately the one in trouble. Fists of Fury, Whirling Dragon Punch closes it out. WizK falls, and Never Lucky claims this series, sending the move home. But that was such a well-fought series from both teams. I cannot believe Zach didn't fall there.
What an absolutely incredible series to finish off the day. They're going to try play it out, but Never Lucky will secure it 3-2.